Can you hear Chael? 1 2 1 2.
Yes, I can hear you, but it sounds echoey.
Okay. You look great, by the way. I like that backdrop, man. Hey, you're doing a great job. That show was fun, and you're getting picked up. Other media sources are they're quoting you and stealing your pieces. You've been doing great, buddy.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. It's a long grind, and and thank you for the backdrop. I kind of got the idea from you, like how you're in the corner, and I was like, I need to have a nice depth backdrop like Chael does.
Oh, did you really? Oh, good.
Yeah. And thanks, man. I appreciate it. And yeah, I love everything you've done. I can't wait to talk to you, man. The fucking gangster. I was gonna like, look, this guy calls himself a gangster and he shows up on time. You ain't no gangster, dog.
I would never keep the champ waiting. Come on. Deal's a deal. You gotta be on time. Hey, by the way, have you announced, do you and one, are you doing another match over there?
You know, I haven't decided yet, to be honest with you. Like, I'm still under contract. Right now, I've just been focusing on Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Like, that's just something I've been focusing on. And for me, that's what excites me. It's like, it reminds me of the old days of wrestling in high school where it's like, okay, you're going to compete six matches. If you win every single one of them, and then you go home, right? Like, and not to know what your opponent is going to do has been very exciting for me. So with that being said, as of right now, I'm focused on jiu-jitsu until, that flame burns out, then I'll decide what I'm going to do. But, One Championship, they have Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. They have no-gi grappling, so I can do that. I think when it comes to MMA, like I was literally just taking a nap today, and I was talking about, I was like, man, like 15 world titles, I defended a mixed martial arts belt 12 times and 4 amateur belts. I'm like, what else is there to do for me in mixed martial arts, So it's kind of hard to like say, I want to keep on fighting where there's just not that drive and passion. So I think eventually it might come to an end. It might come to an end this year. When I fought in Denver last year, I told everybody, I was like, this might be my last fight. I was not lying. I was being straight up honest about that.
Well, what an easy transition if you did change your mind. I mean, going from jiu-jitsu, and good job, by the way. I saw that monster you had to beat about 3 weeks ago. Yeah, but I mean, what an easy transition. That's way different than a dude sitting at home doing nothing and go, I can come back. It's like,
yeah,
it's hard to do. Hard to come back.
Yeah. Michael, are we rolling right now?
Yeah, sorry. Hey, what's up, Chael?
What's up, Michael? Good to see you, buddy.
Look what I'm...
Yeah, I saw that. I like that. Old school.
It's a collector's item now.
It is I was thinking that same thing. I have one of those, and you, I don't know, there's probably not 5 of them out there.
Yeah. Post on eBay for $1,000 or something one day. And DJ,
yes,
DJ, you're rolling.
I just started rolling, so that's stuff in the beginning. You have to take it from StreamYard when we're talking.
Oh, okay, yeah. I don't know if I'd want to post your little retirement or not stuff anyway.
Perfect. Good,
but no.
Okay.
We're all good. Yeah, no. Thanks for your time, Chael, and I'll take myself off and we'll get rolling.
Okay.
I have a different opinion, man. That was a really interesting answer. I was interested. It was authentic. I think you might have something there. People want to know. People want to know if Demetrious is still competing. Hey, by the way, can I ask you one other question, then we'll get going?
2 hours later.
I'm going to start the show. Okay, 3, 2, 1. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? We got a special treat today. We got the original gangster from West Oregon, right down the street, my neighbor. I want to give a huge shout out to Chael Sonnen. Please welcome this man to the MIGHTYcast. Chael Sonnen, how you doing today, brother?
Man, I love it, and thank you so much. Now, maybe this is how the sausage is made, but you and I have been carrying on for about 15 minutes here before you started, and I hope that makes the show. We actually had some very interesting stuff. In fact, we were just discussing One Championship's Anatoly, who's a 3-division champion, but people recognizing him on the street, it's harder to do, and it's one of those spots where, how do you become a scar? Because for so long, we believed, Demetrious, it was about skill. But we now find out that's not true. There's another side, and we don't get to choose. The fan chooses. And there's something to the drama side that used to be left out of martial arts that now appears to be front and center.
Well, I think all the drama side, we can thank you for that, because there's a point in time in your career where you came up, you showed up, you didn't wear the glasses, you didn't have this nice little gangster swag. Now you kind of like paved the way for that, right? Before Conor McGregor, there was Chael Sonnen, and I felt like you did such a great job at it when you had your fights with, I felt the biggest one was Anderson Silva, and then even John Jones, and then the list just goes on. Even now, I saw you just drop a diss track against, the Kendrick and Drake. You're like, I don't know who's this, defamation. You're talking about Jorge Masvidal. I think we all have to thank you for, paving the way for the drama.
That's a huge You've never told me that, and I really appreciate that. And you were such a sportsman that I've always thought, I bet Demetrius doesn't like me. Like, I just bet he doesn't.
No,
He's
I love
such a
you.
sportsman. He probably looks at me like this big jerk. And, to be remembered for anything in this sport is pretty rare, right? I mean, you're in a status as the GOAT, but to be remembered for anything is, so that means a lot to me. If you think maybe I paved the way, and I'll tell you what, I was inspired. And this might surprise you. I always get asked about that Conor and Chael or who is better, something fun like this. But I feel like they're leaving somebody out, which was Rampage. Rampage was the first guy if I was watching parties in my living room or something, he was the first guy ever where people would tell her, quiet, 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 when it was time for him to do his interview. They wouldn't do it all night long. And then quiet, quiet, you want to hear what Rampage said. But moreover, I trace it back personally to Tank Abbott. I thought Tank Abbott was the first ever to come out and do away with some of this honor and respect and make it a little bit more about a show. And he was more of like a beer drinking. It was a different thing, but I still felt like it started with Tank Abbott. That's just my opinion.
No, I think it's amazing. No, I've never hated you. I thought it was absolutely entertaining, and you had great fights. I mean, I work at a local UFC fit gym, and they played that fight of you fighting Anderson Silva all the time, and the pressure, and you beating him up on the feet, and then you taking a fight to him. Right? Like a lot of people, when they fight Anderson Silva, he had this mystical aura about him. But you're like, nah, I'm going to take it to him. And you damn near almost beat him. Like you look at all the scorecards, you're up. It was probably 50-45, 50-44, 50-43. And then he just cut you at the very end. So you've had some amazing fights in the UFC in your career. So I don't think that's going to be the one thing you're remembered about is you being the forefront of the drama, creating the drama and make it more of a show. I think you had some amazing fights. So don't sell yourself short, Chael.
I appreciate
don't
that.
do that.
Hey, can I tell you something? And I really do appreciate that. Thank you. If I could tell you one thing about that fight, right? And when you lose something, sometimes you don't ever want to tell somebody why, because it quickly goes in the category excuse. So then you do the whole, I'm not making an excuse, but it's like, what? But I do want to tell a story. And if it's an excuse, fine. I think it's an interesting story. I had never been 5 rounds before, and I had been scheduled for them. I had a couple of championship matches with a guy named Paulo Filho in the WEC, but we didn't go all 5. So Demetrius, this was the height of exhaustion. And I mean, almost like a blur, almost like I was so tired, but I was so determined in that fight. And a lot of it came because I was scared. I've got to do it. I've got an urgency. I got to get him down. I got to stay busy. So the ref lets me stay here. It came from like this urgency, which came from a fear of him. But I'll tell you this, going into the 5th round, my corner tells me it's the 4th round. And I only say that because I was up on the score. You said I was up on the scorecards when I bring this up. Like, I no longer had to beat him. The urgency to get him down wasn't there. The urgency to score wasn't there. I just had to beat the clock. But I didn't know that. And I don't know if that would have changed things. I don't know. I mean, a horse a lot of times does a little better when the barn's in sight. I don't know. I did think there was 2 rounds left, not 1 minute left.
Gotcha. Hey, like I said, it is what it is. I still love the quote you said. You're like, I didn't tap. I tapped, but I thought you meant I lost the round. And I was like, that's fucking hilarious.
That is so confusing. There's all sorts of nuances within the unified rule, right? There's glitches and things that, still working out. But by any regular standard, I definitely won.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, Chael, I want to take it to the beginning, right? I always ask my viewers this. I'm pretty sure that I know you started in wrestling when you were, middle school, high school, child. That was your beginning sport into mixed martial arts, correct?
Yeah, that was it. Wrestling family. Came from a family of wrestlers, and my cousins were the guys that I looked up to. My immediate sibling, I had an older sister, but my cousins all wrestled. My dad was a wrestler. My uncle was a wrestler, even a coach, and so anyway, I mean, yes, I couldn't wait. Could not wait till they'd finally let me have a singlet.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? This podcast is sponsored by only best energy drink out in the world, and that is G Fuel. Ladies and gentlemen, you can try G Fuel By go to gfuel.com, use my promo code MIGHTY, and that'll save you 20% on G Fuel. My favorite flavor is the Mega Man Blueberry Sushi, but this flavor right here, which is called Blue Ice. Now, when you're taking the G Fuel, I like to take when I work out and lift weights. You're getting that extra energy pump. You're getting the focus, and you're also getting the caffeine. That's where energy comes from. And the cool thing about taking G Fuel, it comes with multivitamins in that bad boy, so there's no crash when you get off of that energy spike. Now, ladies and gentlemen, once again, if you want to try G Fuel, go to gfuel.com. Use my promo code MIGHTY. That will save you 20% on your complete order. Ladies and gentlemen, shout out to G Fuel for sponsoring this podcast. Let's get back to the content. Woo! Gotcha. So you went through wrestling, high school, probably college. What was the transition for you going from wrestling to mixed martial arts? Because you went into MMA. I'm sure you didn't do kickboxing, boxing, Muay Thai, or anything like that, correct?
Yeah, well, I had a fantasy though. So everybody's got rules in their house, and we're probably pretty similar. But also every family and house has rules that are, hey, this, don't do this one. And for my sister and I, do not skip school. And the reason for that is just, if you're skipping, if you're leaving with it, just call us and tell us. We don't want to think you're somewhere and you're not there. All right, fine. So I never did it. I never skipped school. And there was one class. I skipped a class. I went with my buddy, Jeff Williams. We grabbed something called a VHS cassette of something called the Ultimate Fighting Championship. And we went and watched it. And I was 17 years old, 1993. And I went home that day. I immediately confessed to my father what I had done. I said, but Dad, I found out what I want to do. I found out what I want to spend some time in my life committed to. And he was very interested. I didn't get in trouble at all. He wanted me to explain to him. He did not understand. My dad was a wrestler. He's a boxing guy, but he did not understand as I'm trying to explain to him, Dad, there's no rules. These guys are in a cage. He insisted that it was wrestling and that I was just a mark, that I wasn't understanding what Vince McMahon was doing. I'm like, no, this is not wrestling. This is, they're in a cage and they're fighting. And at any rate, I finally had to get him the VHS. And I tell you that because that was 1993. And when it was time for me to go to college, I was such a fan. At that time in the country, there was 6 Gracie certified gyms, but only 6. Like finding a black belt back then was very difficult. So of these 6 gyms, one of them was Pedro Sauer's gym, and it was in Utah. So I ended up signing a letter of intent and going out under Mark Schultz at Brigham Young University. And I'm Catholic. Like it was kind of hard to be in a Mormon school, but there was a Gracie certified gym that I could get to. So I could cheat and get these workouts. And everybody was just one discipline back then. You're a wrestler, you're a judo guy. I was going to cheat the system. I was going to get these jiu-jitsu workouts while wrestling at the college and be all ready when I came out. And it was just one of those things where I thought I was ahead of the curve, but of course that long changed by the time I had graduated.
Well, at least it's kind of fascinating to see that it was the VHS. You skipping school, getting the VHS, going home, watching it, and tell you that, hey, Dad, I'm gonna let you know right now, I skipped school, but there's a positive. I found out what I want to do for the rest of my life. Well, part of my life, and it was mixed martial arts, and that was the infancy start of it, right? Right there is where I became a fan and knew that I wanted to do it. If I got to my senior year in high school, or I apologize, in college, Dan Henderson and Randy Couture were training partners, and they didn't have a gym. They didn't have a coach. They had a place that they went, which was a gym that let them in, and then they just got together every day. They'd have a clock and they'd have a sheet, and they were super disciplined to do it, and they were the top guys in the country. They were the guys that were ranked number 1 and expected to go off to the Olympics. So when I found about these workouts, I started showing up. And I didn't even have the social sense to go and ask if I just started showing up. And they let me in, and eventually, we all said hi to each other. And I got used to doing this. It was for over a year. So when the Olympic trials were done, I went back to practice at 3:00 like Pavlov's dog, like I'd been doing. And they were not wearing shoes, and they had gloves, and they threw me a pair. And they said, we're doing this now. And there was never a conversation. I went back to that same place every day at 3. Eventually, we named it Team Quest. Eventually, we got a guy to come in and go, hey, I want to coach you guys. And the team grew, and we even put a sign up and started signing people up. But that is the beginning of Team Quest right there. Dan, Randy, and I tagged along. Wow, that's incredible. That's the thing that I loved about the old school of mixed martial arts, right? Like you said, 1993, you guys didn't really have coaches. Rather, even Matt Hume, he never had a coach. He was just walking down the street in Kirkland. You know, his dad taught him boxing. He did some kickboxing. He wrestled his whole entire life. But when he was walking one day in Kirkland, he said, "Oh, I saw HMC, and it was American Kickboxing Academy." He went there. Then him and the master, he's beating everybody up. Then him and the master at the time, Haru, they started sparring hard, and then that's when he was like, holy shit, you're actually pretty good. That's where he learned his Muay Thai. And then you had Maurice Smith, you had all these old guys, and then they would just all train together, and then they would all go off and fight in extreme cage fighting. Like, you almost have the same story. Well, that's everybody's story at that time,
Sure.
right? Besides the Gracies, you know, they just focused on Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and so they had a coach, but you guys never truly had a coach.
And those were the guys we looked up to. By the way, it was Maurice Smith and Matt Hume, like everybody in the Northwest. Randy Couture, for example, hadn't really got his comeuppance. And I worked out one day with this guy, never met him before. He had no shirt on, and he wore a jock. He wore a jock with a cup, but he wore that over his shorts. So like when you see him, he's got this weird looking dude. And he tuned us all up so bad. He was a smaller guy, and his name is Dennis Hallman. And I mean, he did things to we didn't know existed in terms of the ground and the jujitsu. And then he verbally abused us as he did it. Like, I went home and told my dad, I met the best fighter in the world today. And Dennis Hallman would tell me stories about a guy. So like the horror stories that I would go tell my dad about how skilled Dennis was, Dennis would tell me about Matt Hume. And he said, man, you have no idea. And Dennis doesn't call Matt Hume a kickboxer. He calls him a trick boxer. Because Dennis says Matt has, everything he does is he fools him and gets him. He thinks he's going to kick and he punches. And Dennis is not huge on compliments. But boy, he had a respect for Matt Hume. And then you had the Ivan Salvers, you had the Josh Barnett's all coming out of that gym. And I thought Matt Hume formed the AMC. I didn't know that was Heroes. You just taught me something.
Yeah, that was Haru. Haru was like basically the AMC. Like, he was just there, and he came over from Japan, Hawaii. And then when Matt was just, the story he told me, he was just walking around trying to find a gym to train at because he grew up in Kirkland. He found there, and then it was like him and Matt kind of formed it. But Haru started it, and then Matt came in and basically took over and brought the submission wrestling style to that gym, right? Like, I'm gonna have Matt on the MIGHTYcast one of these days. I'm gonna hear, I don't even know his full story because I'm like, dude, how do you learn all this? And he goes, I taught myself. And I'm like, how the hell you teach yourself? And he's like, I look at people who do good things, like Ernesto Hoost, how he would throw the high kick behind people's head. I will study that, and then I'll make it mine, and then I'll implement it. And so he has a whole story that I haven't even heard about. But from when he told me, it was Haru, and then Matt came in, and then they built this, amazing team where they would all come together, like Maurice Smith, Ivan Salaberry. But Maurice Smith was a very high level kickboxer, and then Matt kind of taught him submission wrestling. But they all kind of taught each other and worked with each other.
Matt Hume is the master even amongst coaches. Like, just for example, if you had a group of very respected coaches and they were arguing about a technique, they were sitting there going, I really think your toe needs to go this way, and I think you got to extend. Like, if they were arguing and debating it, and Matt Hume walked in and said, this is how you do it, the argument would stop. And they would all go, oh, well, that's how you do it. Told you. It's one of those things. And he was ahead of everybody. And I didn't see, I'm so curious about the Matt Hume story too, because when I got there, he was already there. He knew all the submissions. And there was one other guy, and they ended up having a rivalry. And that guy's name is Eric Paulson, who is now a coach himself. And those two ended up fighting at least twice. But the point was, they were so far ahead of the curve in the philosophy and understanding what it needed to be. So then they did start teaching themselves. And that's a real thing. I watched another guy do that. The late, great Evan Tanner was out of Amarillo, Texas, and he used to clear out the coffee table, and he'd get the Black Belt magazine, and once a month they would show a move, and he'd be still shots, and he'd be trying to break it down. Then he ordered the VHS cassettes, and I knew about those because I had the same ones. He went all the way to the finals of a world championship with that. When he finally got a gym, he won the world championship, but he made it to the finals. He had it to the title match just off of those VHS in a big heart and open mind.
Yeah, absolutely crazy. Like I said, the guys back in the day, they learned how to fight and learn how to teach themselves. So I felt like the depth of like the athletes back in the day. Obviously you have kids now starting in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and like my kids, they started at 10 years old in Jiu-Jitsu. So if they get to 37, they stay on the track, they're going to be so much better than I would ever have been. But I felt like the athletes back in the day, they had to learn and teach themselves. So their ceiling of growth was it was super high because you can always learn new stuff and you've already taught yourself. Then you have somebody else come in here and teach you. It just even magnifies. That makes sense, right? Like when Matt would teach me, he'd say, I'm gonna teach you the concept of fighting. I'm not gonna teach you, okay, if your opponent does this, you do this. And if he does this, you do that. That's just teaching somebody, that's just teaching a dog. Like when I say, bark, you bark. So for me, it's been able to magnify my game because like I know how to fight. I know the concept of fighting essentially. So I'm glad we see eye to eye on that. But I want to fast forward. Talk me to your pro career. Like I felt like you fought everywhere. You fight. I feel like you fight in Bodog.
Yeah.
You fight in Affliction. Walk me through your path to where you got to UFC because that was the last organization you fought for.
Such good memories, by the way. Bodog fight, they don't get any credit, but the memories were great. WEC, like just had the greatest memories. And then you got your horror stories too. You got your horror story. In fact, I fought a guy named Trevor Prangley. And it was the biggest crowd. I was a lifelong wrestler. Oh my God. I could not believe how many people came. I was high on life. I just showed up. There was about 190 people there. But I had never performed in front of this many people that were all watching me. Even at a wrestling tournament, you got all these different mats. So it was just a special environment. Trevor and I had a match, and he submitted me at 7 minutes and 31 seconds of the match. But it was a 7-minute match. The promoter enjoyed it, so he let it just keep going. And when he told us that, Demetrious, when he told us that, we did not argue. That is the way that it worked back then. We had no problem with that at all. And, so you asked me about my path. It was just kind of an interesting thing. And that building we did that in, the 190 plus people, something called the Roseland. I did that when I was in college, and I happened to have a business class. I wrote a paper for the business class about how I could sell out the Roseland, and I have been their exclusive promoter for the last 24 years. We've done 134 shows there with 121 sellout crowds. In fact, you might have heard a number of years ago, but we got John Jones and Dan Henderson together. That was just a grappling match. But we're the ones that hosted that. And so that Roseland that used to do 190, now it's a big deal, at least in this, part of the state or part of the country. And that was just kind of how I started, man. I started as a fan, which is exactly how I end up. That's how I am now. I came along those journeys. They never wrapped your hands, and that was optional if you even wanted to wear gloves. But, Art Jimison, we just lost him 2 days ago. Rest his soul, but I'll tell the Jimison story. He got in there with one boxing glove. But you could. There wasn't a commission. Yep. I was on my 7th fight before I ever saw a scale. We would talk about weight classes, but that would get called in a month or so in advance. Your coach would ask you what you weigh. Most guys would lie. They 200 pounds and claim they were 170. You had this whole game going on. Or even the story I tell you about Trevor, where the time just kept going. And so then we started to have rounds. We started to have commissions, and then we started to have weight classes. And when I started, I thought I'm going to have to be able to beat everybody. I was a smaller guy, 165, something like this. And I think, okay, I'm going to have to beat Dan Severn. I'm going to have to beat Mark Coleman because there weren't weight divisions. And then when opportunity started to present itself, the sport also started to form. In fact, Demetrious, before we were on air, you were telling a story that a promoter can have so much pull that he can decide a match, even though maybe that's not the way it's intended to do. I had one of those. I had one of those that went for me. These stories always go against you. This went for me. I was 9-2, and Joe Silva had made it very clear. I mean, if you had 2 losses, things weren't looking very promising, right?
Yeah.
And Joe Silva had made it very clear, like, if you get another one, your time of emailing and bothering me can come to an end. All right, fine. So I fought. It was called Rumble on the Rock. BJ Penn was putting it on. I was the main event. I flew out there on short notice to take on a guy called Homer Moore. And they gave Homer the win. And BJ Penn's father came in the back, took the win from Homer, right in front, they paid in cash, gave it to me, and let us all know Homer lost and Chael won. He reversed the decision. And that holds to this day. If you go look at, and by the way, Homer did not argue. He let the money go, and that's the way it was. But that's kind of like the story I was telling you about Trevor. We didn't argue back then. Things like this happened. So I think that was the bigger part of the story of my career, which is the question you asked. It wasn't necessarily the holds and the techniques as much as it was the administration and the acceptance. Demetrious, when I was in the UFC, I remember getting my hair cut in my hometown, and the gal asked me what I did. And I told her wrestling. And the reason I did that is too many people before that I had told UFC that didn't know what it was. I would try to explain it and they would go, oh, well, then you're a boxer. Well, then you're a wrestler. They never got it. And it was to the point that I quit telling people. Now I brag. Oh, I love to say mixed martial arts. I love to say things like this. But I came through the time where it was embarrassing to be associated.
Well, I think you came through the time where if you did it, you fucking loved it. Right? You love the act of combat. You love to test yourself against the best in the world. I'm not saying athletes nowadays don't have the same love, but like you said, there are no rules. You didn't care about weight classes. You either taped your hands or you didn't. If the promoter thought you lost, you truly did lose. He takes your, he's like, okay, well, the crowd and the judges think you won, but I'm taking your money and I'm giving it to who I thought won. And here you go, and you have a loss, and this stays true. Because like you said, there was no commission back in there. There was no sanction. It might have been sanctioned, but there was no overhead that oversees you guys, right? Oversees the promoter. And I think those were the best times because you had the true, I'm the one, not the one trick pony, but you just did it because you loved it. Then obviously it got, commercialized, where now with the UFC, you have UFC, PFL, Bellator, one championship, and you have all these grappling promotions, right? So I think when I look back at that time, I wouldn't say, you might at the time feel embarrassed, but I think that was like you guys are the pioneers that got the sport to where it is today. Because without you guys, there would not be no, big organizations like UFC and one championship. It just wouldn't happen, right? Could you imagine if you guys like, oh, fuck it, you, Randy, Dan Henderson, whoever else is around, take Abbott, like, fuck, this is stupid as shit. We're not getting paid. You guys didn't care about getting paid. You guys did. I remember when Matt and Eric Paulson fight, he goes, we didn't get paid. We loved to do it. We wanted to test ourselves. And that's what got us to where we are today with, the UFC and one championship, how amazing the sport is. So thank you, Chael, for going through and feeling embarrassed in your hometown about saying you did UFC.
Demetrious, that was beautiful. I don't know if you realize what a big compliment you just gave me or if you meant it that way, but thank you. And while you give it to me, you're talking, there's this entire generation. I look at the Don Fries and the Dan Severs and the Marco Huazes, guys that transition the sport, Tank Abbott for that matter. I look at those guys different. And while maybe their skills wasn't the same, I will tell you, Demetrious, I get very cold when guys pull out of fights now. They're asked to go and do it 3 times a year, and also, I don't feel good, or I'm not going to do it, or I can't make the weight class, and it irritates me, but only because my perspective was so different. We used to beg to do it. But you would never ask about the money. My mother hatched a plan to bribe Joe Silva 50 grand to get me a UFC contract. Oh, and by the way, my debut opponent was going to be at heavyweight against Andrei Arlovsky. Like, I was going to get killed.
Damn.
But still, we wanted to be in so bad. I give him so much of my life. The internet wasn't a thing. It was a very different world back then. But I'm just sharing, when guys are complaining they're making 12 and 12 or something on their debut, I'm just not going to feel bad for Demetrious. You just missed it. You missed it by about 5 or 6 years, but we used to do tournaments, and we'd have 3 guys in one night, and pretty soon the finals started rolling around, and there was always a forfeit, or you had to bring in a substitute. When guys got better, you couldn't fight 3 guys in a night. So they didn't do away with tournaments. The way the story goes is they did away with tournaments. That's not true. They just made them 4-man tournaments. We were still fighting 2 guys in a night. And I miss those days. In all fairness, the way we do it now is a much better way. But I will tell you, I only had one resentment to our sport, and that was that you only got asked to do it 3 times a year. Like growing up as a grappler like you, it's like, no, come on, please, 4 and 5 times every Saturday. And so, 3 times a year is just, it was one of those spots. And so there is some real positives, like the very nice compliment that you paid me about being one of those original guys. But I also think that my mindset's wrong. I think the way they do it now is much better. I think these guys are more respected athletes and more organized. I think this is the right way, but I'm still calloused to it.
Yeah, 1,000%. I mean, when you look at it now, like when you said, there's a couple of things that that's how my mindset was, right? Like when that was like, you just shut up, train, and keep on winning, and the money will come. And then I feel sometimes if I would have been more hardball, spoke a little bit more, let my personality come out and run my mouth, I think I probably would have got paid more because, you know, it was like, I remember when I fought, you know, John Dawson in 2013, beat him. The next thing you know, hey, you want to fight again? I'm like, yeah, let's run it. Come on. Then I had to pull out that fight, got surgery. Then I turned around, I fought John Moraga in July in Seattle. And then in December, I'm knocking out Joseph Benavidez. And then I was like, just run. Now it's very rare you see a champion fight as often because there's money involved. They want the right matchup to make as much money as possible for the pay-per-view. Where for me, it's like, man, if I would have taken that route, maybe I would have been a bigger star, or maybe I would have made more money. But I have some of that old school where it's like, nah, you just fight, you don't care, da-da-da-da. Now that I'm like at the tail of my career, oh man, and I see all these guys like, you know, Shevchenko and Miles, like, I want to fight Ilia. That's gonna be a banger fight. You know, I want to fight Ryan Garcia. You know, I'm gonna beat it Marab. Then I'm gonna fight Ryan Garcia. They're boasting the career and making the bag fatter and fatter and fatter. Yeah. So I agree with you. I think today, now, the way the sport is structured, it caters to the masses and it caters to the athletes to make as much money as possible. But if they would, you know, I think if we all had the same mentality back how it was in a day, I think the sport would be, I don't know where the sport would be.
Yep. And Demetrius, I know exactly what you mean. And I came through some of that entertainment side of it. And I have regrets of I could have gone harder. I could have gone in this direction. Or here was the right psychology. How did I miss that? I had guys that had a resentment towards me. In fact, I've heard a very good relationship with Boss Rutan, but we had to sit down and have a real talk because he came through the competition era and I represented the entertainment era, and he was out of the sport by then. So I was everything that was wrong with the sport. I was everything that you're trying. I was the bully that you took your kid to martial arts to deal with in the first place. And I'm going, no, I'm really not. You got to give me a second chance here. Like, there's a performance happening. And here's what I think it's going to lead to. And it was one of those things where there was two different dynamics. And I know exactly what you're saying. And Demetrius, by the way, I got to bring up a loss that you had. I don't do that to be a jerk. I had more losses in my first career than you had in your entire career. Like, in some ways, it's more interesting to speak about those because they were so rare. But you had the super fight. You had the mega fight. You had the money fight at the wrong time. Demetrious Johnson and Dominic Cruz. You weren't Demetrius yet, and he wasn't Dominic yet. In fact, I want to say that might have even been your last fight at 35, and they created 25, and you came down. I know I'm real close on that. But I remember when you were getting your run, there was people on the underground, which was running our sport at a time, and it's still effective. They were calling for that fight. That was the super fight. It wasn't St. Pierre versus Anderson Silva. It was Demetrius versus Dominic. And I've had this conversation a million times where I told people, it happened. That fight you're begging for, it actually happened. And here's, you know, what was a little different. And everybody has that, though. I mean, everybody has. Maybe a guy beats a world champion, but the guy became world champion 3 years later. You know, you got to beat him on the right day when he's got the belt. It could change the entire story. But yeah, man, and you bring up your John Dodson matches. Oh, my goodness. He was so fast. And you were faster than him. Oh, my gosh. I remember watching that cage shot. I think it was the one that was on Fox. Oh, you guys were so fast. I couldn't even see what was happening. Dodson was so tough. And I love that you mentioned Joseph Benavidez, because when 125 story gets told, it's Demetrious Johnson and Henry Cejudo. But there's a third guy. Joseph Benavidez deserves to be met. It's the three of you that changed that division, not just the two of you, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, let's take a step back with the Dominic Cruz fight. Yeah, absolutely. You know, I fight at 135. And that weight class was just too damn big at the time where I was at in my life, right? Like, I remember coming home, getting ready to fight Dominic Cruz. I was weighing like 138. And I'm like, well, it is what it is. Where you're fighting a guy who's, at the time, a better wrestler, better at footwork. I can't get to him. I'm trying to kick his head off, right? When I take the way Dominic Cruz moves when me and him fought, and I look at when Chito Vera did to him, same high kick. I've thrown that same high kick in that fight when I fought him. I just missed it. Chito landed it. And so I felt like my skill set wasn't ready for that fight at that day. And he was way better. I mean, the man fucking suplexed me 4 times in that fight. So, I mean, what can you say? And then to jump forward, they made the 125-pound division in the UFC where me, Joseph, even Ian McCall, and John Dodson, those guys were the pioneers of that division. Now all of us aren't in the UFC anymore. You have your new guy like Alex Pantoja, Kai France, Alex Perez, a lot of good guys who kind of carrying that flag. But yeah, and I did have an opportunity to fight for a super fight with TJ Dillashaw, but there are things in their contract. This was the first time I had a leverage that I've asked for in the contract, and we just didn't come eye to eye, and then we're not going to pay me. Like, what's the whole point of a super fight? You're going to get the same amount of pay, right? And for me, that's why I think that fight never happened. But I think me going on and doing 11 title defenses, going to one championship, doing what I did there, kind of cemented my legacy as one of the best in the world at flyweight in America and in Japan as well.
Yeah, and how many in a row is a big deal too. When you got to 12 in a row, that was a really big deal. John Smith from the wrestling era, we've had other 6-time world champions, but John did them in a row. And it's what sets him apart. Everybody calls him the best ever, myself included. It just matters. Those little things that you never think of, these little goals that you were never chasing, but you accumulated on the way. I mean, I really think that that's the part that separates you. And I feel a lot of guys get so close to their own career they can't stand back and see. I'm not sure that you are aware of how we, the community, views you. You're the guy. Like, there's never been a Mount Rushmore ever that didn't include Demetrious Johnson. There's never been a 125-pound ever where you're not the absolute number, not an argument, number one ever. So I think that your humility, though, is what has allowed you to last. I don't think guys in your shoes would go out to a jiu-jitsu tournament that they got to pay $75 to enter. Oh, by the way, they're very likely to lose considering there's weights and that's not what they're fully focused on. I mean, I'm just sharing, like, you have that different mentality, and I think a lot of it has to do with remaining humble. In spite of everything, it seems as though you remain humble. A lot of guys get big for their britches. You like them or so. They get a little money or a little fame. You can't even stand to be around them. And it didn't happen with you. It seemed like the opposite. The big sponsors, the Xbox 360, they were coming to you. They were looking to attack you. By the way, Demetrious, I got to tell you something. Random thought, but I haven't got to talk to you in a while.
Good, babe.
I told you the first time I cut class, watched this, went home and told my dad. When I was explaining to my dad what this was, he was convinced without seeing it that I was watching professional wrestling and that I was just being fooled. If I would have brought my dad your matches home, he would have been sure that I was being fooled. You were doing video game style techniques that do not look real. Like, human beings don't do them. I know everybody asked you about it, but when you mat return into an arm bar, like, oh, come on, man. Like, if my dad would have seen that in 1993, he would have been positive I was watching wrestling. He would have been positive it was scripted.
Yep. He's like, that shit's fake. There's no way a man can throw him in the air and catch his arm and break it on the way down.
Or even that a guy would do that when there's
credit.
only a few seconds left in a fight that he's dominating. The guy's not going to take any risk. Yep. Well, Demetrious was.
See, and this is one thing. Thank you so much for that compliment, man. And that's a thing that I sit back and I think about, like, where the sport has gone from today. Well, excuse me, back when I was fighting, or even you, to where it's today, right? You just said it, like, Max Holloway was beating the bricks off of Justin Gaethje, and then at the very end, he was like, "All right, motherfucker, now I'm gonna really whoop your ass," and he finishes him. And then I was like, "Oh man, Max Holloway, he didn't have to do that." You go back to when I fought Ray Borg. I did the exact same thing, beating up the whole entire time. And I was like, fuck it. I guess I'll just throw you up in the air, catch your arm. Then you look at when Alex Pereira got kicked in the balls, pushes off Herb Dean. Like, Herb Dean, you good, dog. I got this. Ends up knocking out Jamal Hill. Go in the pass. I'm fighting John Dodson, beating him every single round. I get kicked in the balls, and I say, don't worry about this, Herb Dean. There are no breaks. Let's keep on fighting. Now, granted, I didn't go off and finish John Dodson like Alex Pereira did, but it's almost like history repeats itself. But the one thing that we didn't have, or I didn't have, was I didn't have the power of magnitude of social media, how fast things catch fire, how things go viral. And I want to talk to you about that. Like, what do you think is it? Obviously, it's technology, but what do you think it is today that people have done what people are doing now, and people have done what people have done in the past, and they're doing it now, and everybody's like, oh my God, did you see that? I'm like, dude, Chael Sonnen did it, like, 18 years ago or 15 years ago, right? Like, what do you think it is that makes it so go viral? Is it just the technology now, or is it where the sport has gone?
I have laid in bed at night trying to figure out that question. There's books written on that. And I mean, it's one of those things where you really don't know. You throw as much out there as you can, and hopefully something sticks. The technology is absolutely fascinating. Demetrious, when I was a kid, I would read about guys, heavyweight boxing champions, and some of them only weighed 180 pounds, things like this, but they were the heavyweight boxing champion for 10 and 11 years. But the way you would watch boxing back then, including your opponent, was huddling around a transistor radio. You didn't get to watch it at all unless you happened to be there live. So now you don't have a coach that's breaking it down. You don't have a coach that's rewinding and scouting things. It was a lot easier to hold on to that belt for a decade when nobody knew what they were getting into. I think of Lyoto Machida, but at the time, he was so tricky that if there was no videotapes, I feel like Lyoto would have just kept on putting guys to sleep. You know, you get one shot at this. It was hard to even bring in a workout partner for training camp that could do some of the stuff he was doing. Stephen Thompson, some of these guys with this unique skill set. I think Conor McGregor might even fall into that. My point being, like, when you bring up technology, yeah, I think that it's really big. And then there's some slippery slopes too. Like Dana White fully embraced social media. He's the one that taught us what Twitter was. He sent everybody for Christmas one year. He sent everybody video cameras, and the next year he sent them the laptop so that they could upload videos. And I'm just sharing. There was paid incentives for whoever could get the most Twitter followers per quarter. NBA, meanwhile, at the exact same time that Dana was doing that, begged their players, do not download this app. Do not post and do not go on there. So it was a very different thing. Dana went against the grain a number of times, and the accessibility of his athletes to the audience was extremely unique and still is. That's still not one that all organizations are willing to embrace just because they know of the risk that could cause. And MMA really made it as far as it did, in large part because of the accessibility, because, you know, as you're an everyman. The crowd could really relate to you. There you are, there they are, you're walking out. You know, what's the difference? It was one of those things in MMA, like when you study the history of it, there's a few things that we did different.
Yep. Well, and this gives the viewers a little context about what Chael just said. So when Twitter and Instagram and Facebook first came out, the UFC would, I talked about in one of my recent videos about UFC Fighter Summit. He would bring us there and say, you guys need to build your brand. It's free. It costs you nothing. The more people want to see you fight, the more money you're going to make because you're going to make money in pay-per-view points, et cetera, et cetera. If you became a champion, you become a partner. I've done a video on that already. But the UFC was very good about doing that. And then, yes, you'll send your laptops. And then they will give you incentives. I think it was like quarterly incentives. Like whoever had the most traffic in their thing, it would be like, first person will get $25,000. It'll go like $12,000 and then $5,000 and maybe, $1,000. So they give us a lot of incentives to talk about the fights and boast it. And they kept on doing it I think it lasted for maybe a year or 2 years. And then, fast forward to what it is today, I think they've seen the payoff of them slowly, investing in telling the fighters to do that. Like, I'll never forget at the UFC Fighter Summit, they pulled up a picture of Cain Velasquez. I was like, you see this man? This man is Mexican-American. We are trying to break into the Mexican market. So we want this man to do very, very well. You need to follow this man's footsteps and trying to get your community behind you. That way it brings more eyeballs to the sport. And at that time, they were trying to break into the Mexican market, the Latino market in the UFC.
And Demetrious, that was such a foreign concept. I remember that meeting. I know everything that you're talking about. They had the IT people in the back. Hey, on your way out the door, stop by and they'll sign you up. And I did it just because Dana Lorenzo were watching. I didn't know what they were talking about. There was nothing about it. Dana did say one thing that caught my interest at that time. This was 2009, maybe even 2010. But he said, your window's going to be small to fight. But if you can go and build this thing called social media, you can take that with you. So if you want to sell some t-shirts or an autograph down the road, you'll have an audience to do it to. And I had no t-shirts and, there was no audience down the road, but I just remember he said that and thought, okay, investment in the future. We'll see what it turns of it. And Demetrious, because you brought that up and we brought up the pay structure, there are still guys to this day where this light goes on in their head and they'll come to the media. They'll come to me like they crack the code and go, you're not going to get paid on your skills. You're not going to get paid on your win. You're going to get paid by how many butts you can put in seats, as though they've cracked a mystery. I remember the day that I had it too. I remember the day thinking, I've got this big revelation and I know the secret that Dana and Coker are keeping from all of us. No, they were never keeping it from us. In fact, the pay structure of MMA doesn't go Dana White, Scott Coker. It goes Dana White, Joe Rogan. So, who's never thrown a punt. Like, the words matter, and we should know that. And you brought up that pay for Twitter. I won that twice, and it was $5,000. And $5,000 when you're not owed it, oh my God, that is so much money. It's the most exciting thing. Demetrious, I never threw a punch. I tweeted out some words. I fought Babalu Sabral. I got $2,000 and we had to pay our own medicals. My check was $100. I kept that check to this day. It was pinned up on my refrigerator. It said UFC Ultimate Fighting Championship or Zuffa. $100. And I kept that as a motivation forever. But could you imagine? You send out a tweet, you get $5,000. You fight Babalu, you get $2,000. Like, there's a real lesson there. Words matter. Attention matters. They gave us all the clues, Demetrious. We just didn't quite see it as fast as they wanted us to.
Yeah, that's crazy. Like, I always tell my friends and my wife, I was like, any check I can get without getting punched in the face is a good check. It's a good check because I'm getting paid for not, me being in the gym, training hard and fighting, but by me being a personal person and going to shake some hands and doing whatever it may be, meet and greet, a seminar. Because when I do seminars, I'm not getting punched in the face. I'm teaching a passion. I'm sharing my passion with fans and other martial artists. And I agree with you. And this is where it leads to my next segue about you, Chael, is you have been able to transition from, not a whole lot of people have been able to do it. Not a whole lot of people have been able to do it. You have been able to transition yourself from a professional athlete to one of the best analysts, one of the best content creators on YouTube. You hold no allegiance to nobody, right? You talk about karate combat. You talk about boxing. You talk about whatever it is on your mind, whatever gets the West Side gangster thinking. You talk me through that navigation, that game plan. Like, what made you do it? Like, now I'm almost at the same thing where I talk about whatever the fuck I want. Right? Like, if it intrigues me, I talk about it. If it's not, I don't talk about it. But you talk about you having any merchandise. Now, the producer, Michael Wan's over, he's got a Dynasty hat on that you started with Ariel Helwani, the good guy, the bad guy. Talk me through this process. What made you go down this route of being the best analyst and content creator in the game?
I got to tell you that, man, I really appreciate that. One thing about, sometimes a broken clock is right twice a day. Sometimes you get it right and then you rework it. Like every business book ever written is a guy reworking history to act as, I knew if I did this. And it's like, that's not what happened. You put yourself in a position and it turned out to work out. And that was kind of I just wanted to be involved. And in our sport, it is so hard to participate if you're not throwing the punches or having the punches thrown at you. So I was just trying to be involved. When I started a podcast, I thought it was 2 words. I thought it was pod space cast. That's how little I knew about it. Voice only, Demetrious, never even thought about putting it on camera, doing anything like that. So it was one of these things that just evolved, and I still haven't got to where I'd like to be. Like, Joe Rogan is, of course, the master because he makes the most amount of money. But one thing that Joe can do, man, it doesn't matter if he's talking about cage fighting. It doesn't matter if he's talking about the moon landing. He can go in any direction, and there's not very many people that can do that, myself included. I've tried a little bit, and I can do boxing, wrestling, fight, but it kind of has to be that. I've tried to do movie reviews and food reviews, and it's not what people want me for. They want me to kind of talk about combat, and that's okay. I feel like I'm broad enough that I always have something to say, but I mean, there is really an amazing thing. I'll go back to Rogan, but there is an amazing thing that he can talk about anything with anybody and get people to listen. Come on, man. That's hard to do.
Yeah, it is. Trust me. I know. We've been trying to do, that's the thing I've been trying to really broaden, the MIGHTYcast is obviously our fan base is mixed martial arts, like you said, combat. And for me, I'm such a nerd. I love gaming. And, I've had another guest on. We haven't dropped that video. But I think one of the things I try to take from Joe Rogan is that you talk about what makes you passionate. And then hopefully your viewers will turn over and enjoy the conversations you have with the other guests you have on the show, right? Because for me, I always like some of the stuff you be talking about. I sit there and I just like your mannerism. I like the way you think and how you project the information because it's hilarious. And you've also done some acting too in some movies. I've seen a little bit of that as well. So I think you doing it, I think if you were to slowly start sprinkling in a little, movie reviews, like I think you'd be surprised of like the numbers you would get over time. I'm not gonna say overnight you're gonna have a million views on the video or on the podcast or the downloads, but I think think about it. How long did it take you to build your YouTube to where you first started to where it is today? How long did it take you?
5 years. 5 years to have something that you could actually count on that people are going to listen to. By the way, I got to give you disclosure here. So your producer, Michael, kind of told me some of the things he'd like to see for today because you have a high quality show. Bringing a dog to set would not be on Michael's list, but I must explain. Demetrious, I have 2 dogs, and I've only had 3 in my whole life. I lost my first one, and the second dog I got speaks English. This guy knows like 18 or 19 words. You can tell, and he will do it. And I mean, right away, you open the car door and you tell him get in, or you tell him get in. He just knows what to do. So I got the same breed. And that was a coincidence, but I ended up with the same breed. And this little girl is still a puppy. She's 10 months. She doesn't know the 17 words. She doesn't know 7 words. She doesn't know, but she's had to learn from the other dog. So now I'm taking her alone, just her and I one-on-one. This only started 4 days ago, but I am seeing improvement. And, so I think, if I can get her to listen to me as opposed to watching the other dog listen to me, this is my thought. I'm not a wonderful dog trainer. I've only had 3 dogs. But I'm trying, and I wanted you to know why I have Miss Rosa popping into our shot a little bit here. She's very sweet, but she's very shy, and she's still learning a little bit. Hey, by the way, did you get called out? Did you get called out by Mikey Mussolini? Somebody challenged you to a grappling match, and you put him over. You actually go, oh man, that dude's awesome. But was that Mikey?
Yeah, that's Mikey Mussolini. He did call me out. He wanted to do a grappling match. And me and Chacha, we actually talked about making it happen. We couldn't come to terms on the contract because for me, it's a business. I look at now when I fight and I compete, I look at it as a business. If it's something I don't truly want to do, it's a business. It's a business opportunity for me, business opportunity for the company. And so we just couldn't come eye to eye with that, especially as me with my mixed martial arts. Now, when I do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and IBJJF at the tournaments, that's something I want to do. That's something I want to try. I get excited, as we said earlier before we started the show, I get excited going to a tournament, seeing my name in a bracket, and there's 45 people in the bracket. And there can only be one champion. Only one. That excites me, and just the gauntlet and the grind, which Mikey Mussolini, all the great grapplers, Marcus Buchecha, all those guys, the Rotolo Bros, they've already done that stuff. Right now, they're starting to compete on the biggest stage of grappling in one championship, where I've been doing that since in 2010 when I fought for WEC, UFC, and one championship. Now it's like I get to go back and do my jiu-jitsu tournaments where it feels like I was in high school going to a wrestling tournament and wrestling 6 dudes and be like, oh, I'm the champion. I prevail over 45 people. So the fight didn't come to materialize, but he's still young. I'm still young. It could happen down the road, but we'll see. I don't budge on my numbers, so we'll see what happens.
He clearly was very wise for calling you out. If he got your attention to the point that we're talking about it 2 years later and you had a meeting with Chaudhry, like that was a smart move by Mikey then. Right? I mean, he's calling out the guy. You don't generally call out somebody from a lighter weight class. I mean, there was a little bit of risk there. So good for Mikey. Hey, I'll tell you what, one championship has a chance to save grappling. I mean, grappling is one of those things, you and I love it, and some other people, but they are bringing the spotlight. They are bringing the incentive. It's really a cool thing they're going. You talk about tournaments. I did them my whole life. I took them for granted. I never saw the guy in the mirror and was proud of him. Like, that's just what you did on Saturdays. But now that I am an adult, particularly a father, there is something so special about a tournament. I watch these guys, Demetrious, that won't go out there and do a fight that's 3 months away. And I think, but wait a minute. In a tournament, we don't know who we're going to have because we don't know who else is showing up. Oh, by the way, once we do know who showed up, 40 minutes later, you're getting a brand new guy till you go through 5 or 6 of them in a row, and you don't know who that's going to be. You don't know how you're going to do. You don't know what they're going to do. Are you going to this side of the bracket? It's one of those things. And there is a massive courage. I never saw it. I never credited myself or you or anyone. Tournaments is what you do on Saturday. There's a massive courage to going into a blind tournament. Oh, by the way, not only are you giving up your time, you're the one paying to enter. There is a massive courage to that. And guys, grapplers and wrestlers and jiu-jitsu guys, man, I wish they got a little bit more praise because I think they deserve it.
Well, not just praise, but more money. I think, Craig Jones, he's been really advocate for this. Like, I think he's about to do a tournament that's going to pay $2 million or whatnot. I'm not too sure about the whole logistics of it. I want to talk to him about it, but I agree. I think the jiu-jitsu scene.
I got to hear more. One night tournament?
I don't know. I gotta find out more. I follow him on social media.
Sure.
I've been going back and forth with him, but he was like, for him, he's like, why are all the promoters making all the money when people are coming to see us grapple? He goes, it doesn't make sense. He goes, we need to be making more of the money, kind of like in mixed martial arts. Right? Like we always talk about, like, you look at, the pay stub of what the UFC makes or an organization, and it's like $4 billion this year, and you look at what the athletes get paid, it's like maybe not even 2% or whatever. Like he's kind of taking that lead in like the jiu-jitsu, where he's like, dude, like us athletes need to start making more money. He goes, why does it make sense? And that's why he's doing this stuff with the karate combat, and he's doing who's number one and all these other ones. He's basically going around being, in my eyes, a nomad, where he's like, I'm gonna fight here and make 20 G's, I'm gonna fight here and make 10 G's, I'm gonna fight here and do this and this, instead of signing up. So I'm gonna find out. I want to talk to him more about it, but I agree with you. I think jiu-jitsu practitioners need to get paid more money, and I think One Championship is doing an amazing job setting the forefront for that, because the Rotolo brothers, Makhachev, Michi, Shinya Aoki, there's a lot of guys who are making good checks over there just grappling.
I name dropped earlier that I was the promoter for John Jones and Dan Henderson, but one thing about that, when I got into grappling, and Craig Jones, I feel like maybe I was one of the guys that helped to discover him. He went on to be our big face of Submission Underground, including during COVID. The number 2 watch grappling match of all time. Number 1 watch is the final match between Gaethje and Roger Gracie. They ended up doing a gi match, but the number 2 match ever watched was Craig Jones versus Vinny Magalhaes. It was the first sporting event when COVID hit. It was the first period, tennis, golf, it was the first sporting event back. So they had a couple of things that helped them, but I'm just name dropping Craig Jones. One thing about it, when I would go to those events, Demetrius, it was the most family friendly. You'd have grandma and she brought her kid and they got the grandson bouncing on the knee. There was no tension. These guys weren't nervous and pacing downstairs and slapping themselves in the face. It was just a very different attitude. It was wonderful, quite frankly. But it surprised me because I'm going, wait a minute. Do you not understand the rule set? This is the most vicious rule set I know. You're only encouraged to do 2 things: strangle a guy unconscious or break something. You're not encouraged. There is nothing else you're encouraged to do. There's no 10-9 must system. There's no doctor that's this is vicious. These grapplers that go in there, oh my God, this is vicious stuff, particularly the way that Craig Jones plays with all that leg stuff and the ankle manipulations, coming through John Danaher. When you talk about the threat that they're taking on and the courage, I am with you. And it's not understood. It's not appreciated. If it was, I think it would be paid more.
Yeah, and what they're attacking when they talk about the leg locks, they're talking about the heel hooks. They're trying to tear each other's ACL, MCL. That's like a 9-month recovery and surgery. It's not like, like that's a thing that it blows my mind. It's like, okay, we're gonna do heel hooks. All right, good luck. I hope your knee doesn't snap. I'm like, you're not touching my fucking knees. Like, I'm gonna tap so fast because I have to go to work and create content on Monday. So you're not touching my fucking knees. It's just crazy. And I think those guys, eventually, if you look where the UFC started, not UFC, but mixed martial arts in general, 1993, it's the infancy stage. You jump, we're 21 years. Am I math correct? Yeah. 21 years. Now athletes are starting to make, really, really good money, like life-changing money. So I think jiu-jitsu, even though jiu-jitsu has been around a lot longer than mixed martial arts, I think commercialized, it needs more, and I think it will get there eventually, especially if athletes start talking about it. And, my black ass is paying to go compete at IBJJF, so we'll see.
Demetrius, finding out the gap between 2024 and 1993, like that's impossible to do. That can't actually be done. But there's going to be people in the comment section that are going to argue it's 31 years. So let's just get that out of the way before they start doing. Now, no one knows for sure. Like that's going to be debated till the end of time. But there's some people that are going to think we missed a decade there.
Yeah, my bad. My math is off. Hey, I've gotten 5 hours of sleep. I just literally got home. The time of filming this stage, I literally just got home from Hawaii, and I traveled with 3 kids. We took a red eye, and so imagine that, flying home. 4 to 5 hours of sleep. You get home, get unpacked, had to set up all this beautiful light for Chael Sonnen. So I apologize if my math was off a little bit. Okay.
Picture you as about 5-hour guy. What's your number? If you have no kids, what's your number?
Oh, 8 hours.
Oh, really?
8.5 hours.
See,
oh my God.
And you don't get to choose that as a person. God chooses that. And my number's higher too. I wish it was small. I wish I was 5-hour guy.
Yeah, my wife, she could do 5, she could do 4. Like she'll go to bed like 10 o'clock at night, wake up at 4:30, go to the gym and fucking run like 5 miles, lift weights for 2 hours, sit in the sauna, come home. All right, you got lunches done, baby. Let me get these kids to school. Me, I'm like, don't fuck with my sleep. I'm going to bed at 10 and I'm waking up to 7:30 or 8 o'clock. Do not disturb me. But last night, I didn't have that option.
What is happening, Michael? By the way, we're old friends. We actually go back. Michael, nice to see you.
No, Chael, like you said, old friends. Ariel and the bad guy had to represent today.
Beautiful.
And I also wanted to give you a chance to plug for my old ESPN friends. You got a new ESPN show. It is good guy, bad guy. What is it like having DC as a co-host instead of Ariel Helwani?
Yeah, well, I wouldn't accept that. When I accepted that job, I thought it was called Bad Guy and the Other Guy, like the Chael Sonnen show, and then, I have Daniel as a guest. Apparently, he's like an equal partner in it, which I didn't know, but thank you for giving it's pronounced Cormier. Cormier, he was a UFC fighter at one time. This guy, he was a pretty good wrestler, and thank you for bringing that up. But what was the question? Oh, what's it like? Hey, I like it over there, man. I was telling Demetrious earlier, but it's hard to participate in fighting without fighting. And I'm a fan. I was a fan in 93 when it started. My career will end as a fan. And if I can be part of the discussion, man, I consider myself very lucky.
I actually like that. That's a beautiful phrase. Like I started as a fan and I'll end as a fan. And you don't see it as a negative connotation. You see it as a beautiful thing because you started as a fan. And like you said, the only way you can participate is by throwing punches or fighting and actually doing that. But as we get older, we can't do that anymore, right? But we still love the sport. We still see things as an analyst standpoint where people who have never fought a day in their life that like to hear from us. So I'm gonna have to run with that. I started as a fan. I'm gonna end as a fan.
True, right? And I kind of stole it from a version of something that Nate Diaz said. And Nate Diaz said, I'm only going to be a fighter for a period of time, but I will be a martial artist my entire life. So it was that same theme, but I think it makes a lot of sense for a lot of us.
Before we let you go, want to get your take on some hot topics that are out there right now. One that I kind of want to know your opinion on. A lot of people talking about Jon Jones and who he should be going against in his return fight. In your opinion, who would you want to see him go against Stipe? That's the fight that he wants. That's the fight UFC wants. Or would you rather him see Aspinall or even something crazy if he fought Pereira at heavyweight?
Now, I'm gonna chime in on this too, but go ahead, Chael. I'll let you go first.
And guys, if I had my choice, I think I would match Jon up differently. And I think it's out of respect to his greatness. I would try to get him beat. I mean, we've been trying to get him beat for years because it's the one thing we haven't seen. We've seen him win. We've seen him dominate. We've seen him choke people and knock people up, but we haven't seen him get beat. So yeah, I think I would. And maybe size at some point, if not father time, but very hard to do, man. What a skilled guy. I did not understand on a personal level how big Stipe versus Jones is, but they did a little poll internally, and apparently they're claiming that's the biggest fight that they can make. Apparently when that was originally signed, tickets were gone and media partners were coming in. I don't see it that way. I want to see it. I think it's a great fight. I was surprised that the UFC found that to be the biggest fight they could currently make. That surprised me.
Well, I think it comes from, you have, Jon Jones, like you said, one of the greatest of all time on my list. He's never been beat, besides the Mark Hamilton. He was beaten in Hell, but it was disqualification. But he's beat everybody, Lyoto Machida, Rampage Jackson, he beat you. The list just goes on. Now you have a guy like Stipe Miocic, where everybody believes Stipe Miocic is the greatest heavyweight world champion in the UFC. And granted, he hasn't fought since he got knocked out by Francis Ngannou, so it's been a long, long, long time. Michael and the fans can correct me if I'm wrong, but that's the memory that pops up in my mind. So you have Jon Jones taking on Stipe Miocic, but you have these other killers like Tom Aspinall, who's a champion, who's an interim champion. Typically, when you're the interim champion, that means you're going to be fighting for the belt next, right? And so for me, I want to see Jon fight Stipe because I feel like those are two old guards and you have this new generation. And Jon Jones just came out recently and said, I think I'm going to fight Stipe, but there's way more there. Like Stipe Miocic is a household name. We don't know where Tom's going to be in 2 to 3 or 4 years, right? But I guarantee in 2 to 3 to 4 years, we are going to remember Stipe Miocic, right? And I think Jon Jones doing that. I think they could say, Jon Jones, we're going to strip you of the belt, or you could vacate it, and we'll let Tom Aspinall and somebody else fight for the heavyweight championship. And Jon Jones and Stipe can fight for the baddest heavyweight motherfucker in the world. Who knows? But I don't think they have to hold down the division for that fight, because we all know. And here's the thing: what if Jon comes back and beats Stipe, which I am foreseeing that? Then Jon Jones is like, you know what? I'm still young. I'm going to fight Tom Aspinall, right? Then you even have a bigger mega fight. So it's a very interesting way how to view that fight. I think it's a great fight, but I think when it's like the world championship and you have Tom Aspinall waiting, that's where it kind of gets a little murky.
Can I jump in on one technicality, Demetrious? People seem to be missing
Absolutely.
this. This hasn't been tested yet, but let me just call it out for the smart mark that's like to know these kinds of things. You got Tom Aspinall, who's the interim champion. We make up the rules as we go on the interim championship, but one thing that you and I know for sure is that means you're the number one contender. Well, not so fast. We're now going to have an interim champion not facing the undisputed champion. Why keep him? Why keep Jon with the belt, or why keep Tom with the belt? Well, here's the answer. We don't know if Jon is going to return, for one, so we might need to elevate Tom. And two, Jon is rumored that he might retire in the ring after Stipe. So instead of going through a division where we don't have a champion, we've already got one, he becomes undisputed. And that's where I have to correct you. That is not the rule. The interim champion.
You know how it goes.
Yep.
Oh, you're never the champion. You just got that belt because you were second. You got the second place. You're never champion. Oh, you're actually gonna fight. Now you're gonna. You know what I mean? You know how the fans are. You know how this shit gets fecal, right? Where it's like, just like when Dustin Poirier won it. He got the interim champion, and it's because, Khabib wasn't ready or whatnot. And then he actually fought Khabib, and now Dustin is like, I was never the champion. So why have that? Like, I see what you mean, but I'm looking at like the backlash. If Jon Jones does retire, then you have the interim champion, Tom Aspinall, who is a number one contender. He becomes the new heavyweight champion of the world, right? It reminds me of like when Jose Aldo got his belt when WEC, I remember Conor McGregor goes at a press conference, and Conor McGregor was like, "You didn't win that fucking belt, mate. You got that belt was handed to you." You know what I mean? So,
Champ,
come back at me. Let me stay with me now.
Okay, Champ, I have to finish this thought now. People believe, all right, let's just paint a scenario. Tom Aspinall's in the front row. He's the interim champion. Jon Jones and Stipe go fight. Jon Jones takes the microphone, says, I'm retired. Boom. Aspinall now elevates. Jon Jones says, I'm not going to retire. And you've got interim champion versus undisputed champion. Wrong. And you got to look into the bylaws of government affairs. The interim champion can only exist when there is the absence of an undisputed champion. And therefore, the moment the bell rings for Jon Jones's next fight, there is no longer an interim champion. The moment the bell rings, the undisputed champion has returned, which means Tom Aspinall, sitting in the front row with his shiny belt, is stripped instantly. So if Jon does retire, he does not move up. And if they do fight, it's not champion versus champion. And nobody seems to know that. I'm only calling that out because when this gets looked into and Mark Ratner has to weigh in, he's going to weigh in with me. There is no interim champion per the rules when the undisputed champion is present.
Wow, look at the gangster dropping some fucking knowledge.
It's pretty good though,
and
right?
You're absolutely,
for the people that care, they'll like that.
Yeah, well, people do care. That's why they want our insight, our perception of it. Because you are right. The reason why you make an interim champion is because the champion cannot defend. He can't do his thing, right? Someone blows ACL. Oh man, like Jamal Hill, he vacated it. He vacated his title because he goes, I do not want to hold up the division. I'm going to vacate the title. I'll come back. He came back. He had the first opportunity to fight for the belt. He vacated. He came up short. Now Alex Pierre was doing that, where it wasn't the same thing as Jon Jones. So from what the gangster is saying, when Jon Jones steps in the cage and defends his belt, Tom Aspinall is no longer the interim champion of the world. That's an interesting, Michael, I want you to do some research and look that up. You hear me? That's your homework for the week.
Yeah, and last one before we let Chael go. We actually haven't talked about this one on our YouTube yet. Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson. Does this fight get you excited at all? I don't know what to think of it, but it's on Netflix in July. What are your thoughts on this highly divisive matchup?
I feel like I have and you said this is my last question. I want to thank you guys. When Demetrious started this and I kept watching all these guests and I wasn't one of, is he ever going to invite me? So thank you for having me on. Guys, I feel like I have my thumb on top of the sport, what it wants to see, from wrestling to boxing. I feel like that about myself. Now, Jake Paul and Tyson is one you just never imagined. It wasn't going to happen. They weren't allowed to do it. Multiple different weight classes involved between a guy that fights at 185 and a former heavyweight. So my point is, it took a little minute to digest. It took a minute to kind of understand what's happening. You know there's something big. You got this Netflix involvement. Now, you and I, Demetrius, need for Netflix to have a positive experience in this space so that they will stick around. And I was so worried, hey, I think they grabbed the wrong one here. I don't think people are going to want to see this. They eventually got Texas just recently last week to actually make it a fight. There's a reason to win now because this will go against Tyson's record, which is such a wonderful legacy. And all of a sudden, it starts to feel a little bit more real. 8 rounds, a little too many, I think, for Mike to do well, but 2-minute rounds with a 1-minute rest, all of a sudden you start to give Mike some real hope here. And boy, does he ever need it. And think about how life is going to be for Mike. As celebrated as he is just as a human and a figure, imagine the next 20 or 30 years of his time on this planet, how he's going to be looked at, how he's going to be revered. Mike Tyson is largely for like my son, something he's heard about. And my son respects him and knows that that's a star, but he never saw him. He never saw one of his walkouts or weigh-ins or press conferences or matches. So now it's this whole new demographic where this guy is a legend, but they're going to actually see him. I just think that's exciting. I mean, listen, if Michael Jordan came back, there was so many kids that go, wow, I heard of the greatness, but I can't believe I'm actually going to see it. And he does not want to lose to Jake Paul. I mean, when you're talking about that legacy and how you're going to be remembered, that just isn't the loss that you want.
Yeah, I agree with you. My best friend, one of my brothers, texts me. He goes, man, I don't want to see one of my heroes growing up watch box get knocked out. And I was like, wait a minute now. You're talking about Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson just fought Roy Jones Jr. He did a great job. He even did that fight high, if I heard him correctly, and he looked damn well good. He's training with some good coaches, and I think Mike Tyson's still got it. He's going to come out there and he's going to surprise us, and I'm happy. I'm shocked they made it an actual fight and sanctioned it. I think the only thing I'm worried about is Mike Tyson's health. Getting hit in the head at that age is never the best thing to do. But hey, I think Netflix is smart getting in the business. They had their first live stream with the Cat Williams. I watched that live, and it went very, very well. So let's see. I'm super excited to see how it turns out, man. I'm pumped for it.
See, me too. And Demetrius, I think normally you and I would be haters on something like we're MMA guys and this is boxing for one. And then you got this YouTube star. It's like, no, we actually have an open mind here. They're very smart with the rules. Netflix and the business standpoint, that kind of adds an element. Let's stand back and see what happens. I'm with you. I've been invited to a party for that, and I believe the date is July 20th, but Coach T. Cantor invited me to. I have not been invited to a fight party in about 5 years. So the fact that this is the one where a guy's planning this in advance and it's a potluck and my wife and I got to bring this special dip. I mean, I'm just saying that hasn't happened to me in about 5 years. So there's part of the population pretty into this match.
Boom. Well, you heard it from the gangster. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much to our guest, Chael Sonnen, for coming on here.
Is this embarrassing? That's not good. That's a fat guy shirt right there, right? I'm sweating while just sitting here talking to you guys. I was watching that form, and I was even going to grab it and act like, oh, no, I spilled on myself to blend it with the audience, but I didn't get to it in time. All right, fine. It's hot in this room. I can't believe this. The greatest of all time was nice to me. I didn't think it was going to be that way today. And I really appreciate that. That's the humility. See, Demetrius doesn't know how we all look at him. He stayed humble. He doesn't understand that he's up here. Thank you, fellas. You guys are awesome.
Appreciate you, Chael. Ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed this episode of the MIGHTYcast, make sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And also, go on YouTube and follow my man Chael Sonnen and check out his show DC and the Bad Guy. Check it out. It's streaming on ESPN, Spotify. Where to get your oh, my bad, Bad Guy and the other guy. That show got canceled.
Daniel Cormier. They call him DC. Is what?
Oh, DC, Cormier. Good guy. Fuck. We'll have it in the description. God damn it.
He was a fighter. He's pretty good too. Pretty good fighter. This guy.
Boom. Ladies and gentlemen, we are out. We'll see you next time. Chill. Well, damn. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to an episode of Recap, is where me and Michael, we break down what we just...
I want to say you bring up now, we have the results. Let me pull up the poll of what we should call this segment.
Okay.
So here are the final poll results. We have over 1,000 votes.
Hey,
Drum roll, please. Give me a drum roll. Yeah, and the mighty recap is your winner.
Hey.
62% of the votes. And no,
go.
you were right about Mighty Cap. That all the top comment is like Mighty Cap sounds like you're about to have a podcast full of lies.
Hey, who knows? Down the road we can do that. Do like a mighty cat where we just talk about all the lies of MMA. Like there ain't no way in hell that happened. Da 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 da.
No, that just sounds like something MMA guru would do.
Yeah.
So I will say another option was leaving some comments with some of the names that they like. Let's just read these for fun, but I think Mighty Recap is probably good. But Mighty Rewind got a lot of likes. You're not a fan of that?
No, I'm not a fan of that one, no.
Mighty Rewind, Mighty Rundown, Mighty Rerun, The Mouse Cap. I don't like that at all.
I don't like that.
Mighty,
I think the
Mighty Wind, Mighty After Hours.
I like Mighty After Hours. That's kind of dope. Having a drink.
After Hours.
Yeah, Mighty After Hours. This is
Mighty Reflection. Where's the one I saw that there was one that was so funny that I wonder if this guy deleted it, but he's like, you should make it Mighty Back Shots. Cause I'm like, what the Mighty Back Shots. He's like, yeah,
I
it's
think that's
funny.
for OnlyFans.
I gotta find that one. Oh no, that's what he said. He said because of OnlyFans.
Yeah, that's an OnlyFans thing.
But yeah, no, let's give. So now we're gonna go officially. This segment is called Mighty Recap. So now you can give it that proper introduction.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this episode of Mighty Recap. Thank you to the fans who voted to get this segment of the show named Mighty Recap. I think it's good because after we get done talking to Chael, there's stuff that, or not just Chael, but our guests, there's stuff that kind of, stays with us and we're like, oh, interesting. I think for me, like I told Chael, him paving the way for the entertainment, well, how you put it, there's the competition side of it and there's the entertainment side of it, and I think he did a very good job of the entertainment side of it, getting fans to care, because I remember when Anderson Silva was on his reign, when he knocked out Vitor Belfort, when he was just beating everybody. Not until Chael Sonnen came into his life in the MMA world and talked all that trash and created drama, that's where his stardom rose. And even Dana White said it. He goes, you need a good guy and you need a bad guy. And for Anderson Silva, you needed that bad guy. You look at Batman, all of his bad guys or all of his enemies aren't ever compared to the Joker. Without Batman, there is no Joker. Without Superman, there is no Lex Luthor. The list just go on. Without the Wolverine, there is no Sabretooth, right? So I think Chael Sonnen was the forefront of that entertainment side in mixed martial arts, and I loved everything he did when it came to that. He's invested the money over the years of his career of fighting, being an analyst, working at ESPN, and into his own studio at his house, where he just jump on and boom, turn on a light switch and go, where I've done the same thing. And he also has an amazing producer, because they seem to be vibing out as me and you, we vibe out, we look at, see the landscape, what we want to talk about. So I think that's why it's worked very well. And I think the interesting thing about him is that he can talk about whatever you want, and how he put it as an analyst, you can participate without throwing a punch, because you're looking at it as an analyst. He started as a fan and he ended as a fan. And I think he has the gift of gab. When he gets behind a mic, he can just he can just cook. Just let him cook and you're going to be entertained. And I've always been entertained. Big fan of his YouTube channel as well. And his show with Daniel Cormier. I can't believe I got that wrong. I thought it was good guy and the bad guy. Or it's DC.
So it's good guy. I think to be honest with you, I don't even know if he knew the correct name of the show, but it's good. It's good. It's good guy, bad guy. Check that out on ESPN MMA YouTube, also on ESPN Plus. Still got a lot of friends out there, and I think it's really cool seeing DC and Chael together, because it's something I always wanted to see. Because remember back in the day when Ariel was at ESPN, yep, he had the Ariel and the bad guy, but then he also had the DC and Helwani. So it's kind of combining both those worlds. So
I love the Ariel and the bad guy, because Chael Sonnen had the entertainment side of it, where you had Ariel Helwani. He loves the entertainment side, but he's also a big fan of the competition side as well, where he wants to see, the competition play out over the entertainment side. So I felt at that time when that show was going on, it was magnificent because you had those guys actually getting arguments. Like it's almost like that Skip Bayless versus Shannon Sharp dynamic duo, where Skip Bayless was getting hella pissed off when he said, "You're not one of the greatest of all time." He goes, "How you gonna say that? Huh? You never played a day in the life of football, and you gonna sit here and just disrespect me?" He goes, "I'm not disrespecting you. I'm just telling you how I think." He goes, "I'm about to whoop your motherfucking ass. That's what's about to happen."
John has made it very clear he doesn't want this fight.
Stop it.
He's also made it clear that he will.
Stop it.
No, excuse me. He's made it clear. Excuse me. I got to finish the thought before you disagree with it. He's made it very clear he does not want this fight.
But I think for Chael to have an amazing career and then not, he was never a world champion in MMA. Excuse me, he was never a world champion in UFC. But I think for him to be able to take his career, like you look at all the guys, I'm a big fan of this, and I'm always a big advocate for it. Excuse me, is that when you're done with your career, while you're in your career, build your brand. That way, when you stop competing or whatever it is you're doing, you can still monetize or still be part of the discussion. And I've taken a huge inspiration from him, Joe Rogan, about building this podcast. And once again, thank you to the fans who tune into this episode and all the episodes in the YouTube channel. We're doing our best to expand the brand and to get some other guests on here that just aren't in mixed martial arts. We got a great gamer, Asmongold. I'm talking to Donut Operator right now. We got a lot of stuff in the pipeline, and I just want to take time and thank you guys. And Chael Sonnen has done a good job, like he said, Michael, paving the way for us to have a platform as MMA guys to speak our create a channel. And shout out to Chael for doing that, man. And ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed this part of the Mighty Recap, please leave a like, subscribe. Also, hit the bell to know when we drop another one. And comment down below, what part of this podcast surprised you the most? For me, I would say his upbringing when he skipped school, told his dad, got the VHS, and now it's kind of his entry into mixed martial arts. I've heard about the stories back in the day where there was no coach, kind of like with Mighty Tate, there was no coach, but there was somebody above them, where here, there was no coach because it was just brought up to 1993. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, I did horrible math. It wasn't 21 years. It was 31 years. My apologies. And as always, I am your host, Demetrious Johnson. My co-host, Michael Wansover.
That shit, my camera's gonna die soon.
All right, Michael, go ahead, close it out. Close it out, Michael. Go ahead, do it. All right, ladies and gentlemen. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Shout out to our guest, Michael. Oh, Jesus Christ. All right, shout out to Chael Sonnen for joining the MIGHTYcast. If you guys enjoyed this episode of the MIGHTYcast, please leave a like, subscribe. Also, hit the bell to go live and let me know in the comment what you thought was the best part of the show. I'm your host. I love the content on YouTube. I mean, you've been doing the commentating. You just did the Ultimate Fighter. I'm going to talk about that. We're going to talk about anything. Is there anything you don't want to talk about?
No, anything.
Okay.
Open book.
Okay. Perfect.
Everything is open.
I love that. All right, I'm gonna start rolling, man.
Bro, I did videos. You guys did a video of Khabib and them that did crazy numbers.
Yeah, dude. We didn't think it was gonna do that because
5 million.
I think it's like 5 or 7 million. Yeah,
Jesus,
7 million.
Right.
But see, you never gone to Dagestan, right?
No.
I want to go so bad. I'm just worried.
I went when I was wrestling.
Okay.
I haven't been since.
Yeah, I want to go.
I'm gonna take my kid though.
Are you?
Yeah.
Okay, I want to go because I'm only concerned about like my safety. You know,
That's the only problem.
That's my own problem. I mean,
the only problem is the world's so crazy right now.
Yeah, you just never know what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Right. But my buddy, he was ex-military, and he goes, "Dog, you're gonna be in the mountains. Like, if anything is gonna happen, it's gonna be more in the city. But those guys are in a mountain,
They're
like,
isolated. Yeah.
isolated, where they're away from all that stuff. But that's kind of like what feeds my itch now is training with athletes because in my career, I never did any cross training. Like, I think the first time I cross trained with a different camp was with Henry Cejudo, and that's when I was ready to fight Adriano the second time. Yeah, and I was that's you kind of see where you're at. Yeah, right. Like in your whole career, you had Luke,
Kane, all those guys.
Islam, you had all those guys. So you got to kind of feel like you're training with the best. Where I usually train with hobbyists, guys who are financial advisor, guys who work at Microsoft, guys who work there. So now I'm at a point where it's like, I'm not going to have to compete against Henry ever again. I'm not going to compete against a Marab or an Aljo. So I can just go out and freely train. So when I got the opportunity to train with Islam, I was like, yeah, I'll fucking train with Islam and Umar. And I was like, you guys are fucking big. I was like, big. You guys are big. And that's all they do. That's all they fucking do. So it was a good time training with them. So hopefully I make it to Dagestan, but we'll see. Yeah. We'll see.
For sure.
So, okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the MIGHTYcast. And we are joined here by the great Daniel Cormier. DC, thank you for taking time. to join us on the MIGHTYcast. How you doing, brother?
Can I be honest?
Yeah, be honest.
All right.
That's what it's all about, honesty.
I'll start this shit right away. Like, I saw Izzy, Islam, Khabib, a whole bunch of dudes. I was getting kind of jealous.
Really?
What took so long?
I wanted to get into person. Oh,
What took so long?
What took so long? You're a horrible texter. I'm texting you. I'm like, hey, would you like this? And next thing you know, it's quick as I'm getting ready to brush my teeth. I was like, fuck this. I'm going to keep it at the same time.
But I texted you. I texted you back.
You did.
There's very few people that I respect enough where I'm like, I got to respond to DJ. Like, I swear to God, because there are a couple times I'm like, man, I look at it and I'm going to do it and I don't. I'm like, I need to make sure I message him back because I wanted to do the podcast.
Thanks, man. I appreciate you. I mean, no, I wanted to reach to the right opportunity to get us in person, right?
Yep.
Your energy's always great. You're one of the best to ever do it in this sport. You know, we were literally sitting here talking about athletes who become a champion and they leave to go get another belt. Like, what was the incentive for you to go do that, right? I mean, you were a light heavyweight champion and you're like, you know, fuck, I'm gonna go do the heavyweight champion. You had the picture of the two belts.
Shit.
What incentivized you to go do that? Because me and Mike were talking like, you see it more common nowadays. Two title defenses, I'm out.
Yep.
You know, it's very rare you see somebody clear out division completely
And then move up.
What was your incentive to do that?
So we were in Boston after I fought Volkan Oezdemir. Dana comes in the back the same night and goes, what do you think about fighting Stipe for the heavyweight championship? So it was a little bit different for me because I had fought so many times at heavyweight when I came into the UFC.
Yes.
But then I went down because Kane was the champ.
Yeah.
So
that's right.
Dana was just like, hey, you've had 13 fights at heavyweight. So for me, it wasn't as nerve-wracking as it would be for most. So when you were fighting at 135, and then when you went to 125 and you had the belt for so long, going back up wouldn't have been that big a deal for you because you already had a career there.
Yeah.
Right? Now going to 145, you might be like,
Yeah.
But see, I had a career at heavyweight, so him asking me to go back up, I was like, I don't have to cut this weight. I'm going to get a title fight right away. I was like, yeah, I'll do it. And plus, I felt like it was a good matchup at the time, and I knew that my window was closing.
Yeah.
The year that I fought him, I could already feel that I had a few great performances left. You know.
Yeah,
right?
I know.
We all know, like, man, I got about 2 great performances left, and if there's a time that I'm going to do this, it has to be right now.
How old were you when you did that?
39.
39?
I was 39 years old.
39 when you did that?
Yeah.
Fuck, how old were you fought John?
The first time I fought John Jones, I was 36 years 36 years old.
And then the last time you fought him?
I was 38.
Wow.
Yeah, I was old.
That is crazy that
John was like 28, 29 years old.
That is crazy. You're competing at a high level at that age.
Yeah. Well, I didn't start till I was 31.
Well, I know because you had the wrestling career, right?
Yeah.
But that is
kind of
that's kind of crazy when you think about it, right? Because typically, you know, athletes are done by then.
Yeah.
They don't want. I mean, I stopped when I was 37 because I
least
knew.
Start slowing down.
Yes, but you were ramping it up.
Yeah,
you became a double champ at 39 years old.
39 years old. Yeah. I defended the light heavyweight championship in January. Then I won the heavyweight title in July.
Wow.
And then I defended the heavyweight title in November.
Wow.
So I fought 3 times at 39 years old. Yeah, it was crazy. And then you know how I knew? Because DJ, right after I beat Derek Lewis, the same day, I blew my back out sneezing. I was like, yo, this shit's over. The money had got too good, though. Like, the money got so good at that time that I couldn't stop.
Yeah.
But it was like, I knew that I only had a few big ones left in me.
Yeah.
And the great ones were at 39. At 40, it was 40 and 41, I was done.
Wow. That is crazy to think about. Because now you see those things, people who win the belt after 35 years old, right? At a lower division. I'm like, nobody ever talks about you became a double champ at 39. Of course, people who are 28, 27, or whatever it may be, it seems easier to do because, yes, you're young, you're healthy. But when you're 39 years old and you also had a long career of wrestling, dude, that's amazing. So kudos to you for making that happen. I'm sorry about your back being blowing out.
No, I sneezed.
Yeah, I know.
It was so bad. It was so embarrassing. But, you know, I spent so much time like competing that I just kind of knew how to compete.
Yeah.
So that happened. My career happened very fast. I fought from 31 to 41. I was 10 years and then it was over, right? Like very few people are like you and I that get out, still have all their faculties and feel good. And, yeah, it's like I was lucky. I had a great career in a short period of time. It was awesome.
Yeah. Well, I think, when I look at your career, you come from a wrestling background, right? A long history of wrestling. And it seemed like you made an easy transition into mixed martial arts. Your hands are great. Great knockouts. I remember when you fought Josh Barnett, you were throwing his ass around like a rag doll. And when you look at somebody who's similar to you, not identical, you look at a guy like Bo Nickel, right? Where when I look at him, he's still trying to get his feet wet about learning how to fight, right?
Yep.
And he didn't have a long amateur career because he had a long wrestling career. Do you think it's good for guys to transition from a long wrestling career into mixed martial arts? Meaning like take your time, because he jumped right into UFC.
He also his idea of self, while self-value is very important. I never blame someone for being confident.
Yeah.
But when he was as openly confident, it forces the organization to make you do things much faster than you may have to do things. So he fought Val Woodbine, I think his name was, and he hit Val Woodbine. Val's hurt. But Val doesn't move, DJ. He's standing there like rock. So Bo's like, wait, I can hit him again?
Yeah.
So he hits him again. Val's standing in the same place. Didn't run, didn't try to cover. He was just like, I'm like, Jesus Christ. And then the next guy, he submits. Right? But then he starts talking about Hamzat. And he starts talking about all these guys.
So you think he opened Pandora's box?
He opened the door for higher level of competition. So then they give him Paul Craig. He beat Paul Craig.
The grappler.
Yeah, the grappler. Who had been in the top 15 before. So it's only natural to keep moving you forward. So then they put him in there with
RDR.
And RDR's good.
Yeah.
Really good. But again, I think self-worth is important, but also recognizing where you are in your career is even as important. I wasn't calling for guys in the beginning. I'm like, let me kind of go into this.
But I also think you had a good team structure around you, right? You had Luke Rockhold. I know he trains in America Top Team, which the head coach is Mike Brown, and Mike Brown has so many different other guys, where I feel like at your team, you guys had all heavier guys. I think the lightest guy was probably Habib. I could be wrong.
Habib was like 155. We had some smaller guys, but you had the main guys. Khabib was so big though he could train with us.
Exactly, but you also had Luke Kane. So you had good training partners, and then you had just a good group around you. Where I feel like for him, he has Mike Brown, and I'm not saying he doesn't have good groups around him, but I think he never got the opportunity to actually spread his wings as an amateur career. And I tell people, I'm like, dude, when you have all those years of wrestling. All those years of wrestling. You think I'm going to go jump in an amateur league and do 10 or 15 amateur fights? Fuck no.
Those guys aren't going to fight you.
No, they're not. They're like, you're
NCAA champ?
Nope. Pass. So I was always curious because I felt like your transition, long wrestling career, you were able to transition, beautiful hands, great wrestling, great, ground control. And I was curious, like, what were your thoughts on Bo Nickel? Because he almost had the same type of career. Like
he just needs to work on the more. His control grappling is great. He's so good on the ground because he's so good in his wrestling. I think his hands got to be a little more fluid. And you know better than anyone, right? You wrestled. Did you wrestle growing up? Yeah, you did, right?
Just from 8th to 12th grade. That's
okay. So you wrestled. But you wouldn't have been as great if you didn't know how to wrestle and fight at the same time. It can't be I'm wrestling or I'm striking. I'm grappling or I'm doing damage. It's got to all kind of be mixed together. So when you're punching, you got to know if an opportunity presents itself, I grab his leg. Right? You were so good at that. That's why those guys, that's why when you were taking Henry down, like, everyone's like, how's he take Henry down? I'm like, because he knows how to fight, and Henry's trying to wrestle. They put on wrestling shoes. Henry's like a nightmare for him.
Oh, yeah. But when I wrestle with him, I'm like, okay. It's like when we're training, and like he does hit that fucking
He's
inside
so
trip.
Good, dude.
So good at it. Then, as we kept on training more, he would hit him. Like, not anymore, dog. It's not gonna.
I figured it out.
I figured it out. But then it's like, okay, you take me down. In MMA aspect, you take me down. Are you going to pass my guard?
Nope.
No. Are you going to?
You gonna get back up?
He'll get back up. I was like, so it's kind of like nullified in mixed martial arts. Well, depending on what the parameters are of the session that we're doing. But like, I always laugh when I look at Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and it's like, I pull guard. I just shut your whole wrestling down. Now you have to pass my guard, which you can't fucking do. Now it's almost like wrestling is null. It's null, right? So one of the things I love about when we did train, is that his wrestling is so fucking good. So good. Like, I would hate to just wrestle him pure
wrestling. It would suck. But then you start adding that grappling. And
all
your
that
ability to go to your back and roll.
And then go to his legs and all that stuff.
Yep.
It's like, it opens a box.
And that's why when Bo got taken down by RDR, everyone was like, he got taken down. I'm like, because we're talking about a guy that was a 2-division champion in one of the biggest organizations in the world. That's really good.
Yeah.
And Robert Whitaker better be on his game, or that dude's going to be problems for him too.
Yep. Outside
of the
fans,
UFC. Yeah,
the fans
don't.
They don't
Well, when
acknowledge
people
anything.
say stuff like, do you watch UFC? I'm like, the sport's called MMA, bro.
Well, that's because the brand is so big.
Yeah.
Right? Like me and Michael always have this conversation about why would the UFC want to build stars, right? Why would they want to do that? I think at one point in time, they did have stars that were bigger than the sport. Rich Franklin, Chuck Liddell, Randy Couture.
Back in the
where
day.
when you see them, it's like, oh man, there's Rich Franklin. Oh, there's Chuck Liddell. Now, when you see Daniel Cormier.
You're a UFC fighter, aren't
You're
you?
a UFC fighter, right? It's like I'm actually Daniel Cormier, 2-divisional champion. Get it right. That's where I think it becomes small that everybody thinks mixed martial arts isn't,
There's so many different
it's
organizations.
like it's UFC. That's what it is. Like people are like, I always talk to people like, oh, what do you do for them? And I was like, oh, it's a professional fighter. Oh, what do you mean? I was like, oh, I used to do mixed martial arts. He goes, oh, you mean UFC? And I'm like, it's called mixed martial arts UFC.
But yes, I was the fucking greatest ever in the UFC.
Well, I don't say that.
Yes, I did UFC, but I was the best ever at it. Like, I was the best ever at this shit. Like, just say it. Like, bro, why are you so humble? Bro, like, I swear to God, if I was you, they couldn't tell me shit.
Well,
I'd be on them now.
I'd be
on them now.
Yeah.
But if I had like all them title defenses like you had,
yeah,
they couldn't tell me shit, bro. Nobody could come at me.
I think there's somebody in the same boat as me. We know how it's playing out for him right now. But,
but he's bugging though. You don't do all that stuff.
Yeah, I think the humbleness comes from.
But I'm not telling you to go do that. Yeah, I'm not telling you to go do no crazy stuff.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, like, man, I'm Demetrious Johnson. Plus, like, dog, like, that's the thing, right? Like, when we did the top 50 fighters of all time and you came on.
Yeah.
It's like we all geeking because I'm like, yo, you had been away for a while. We hadn't seen you. So seeing you back was awesome.
Oh.
And then I'm like, yo, I don't understand when people do stuff. Like when we do, who's the Mount Rushmore? I'm like, Demetrious Johnson.
Yeah.
They're like, what? I'm like, Demetrious Johnson. And everybody like, I don't understand like why they don't respect what you did more because you, Anderson, John, all you guys, George St. Pierre, what you guys did in terms of holding the championships, that'll never be done again.
Yeah.
How many title defenses? 8?
11.
11,
yeah.
So I even said 3 less. 11 title defenses, bro.
Yeah.
I tell people, when I got to the UFC, I had 15 fights.
Yeah.
I fought for the belt 10 times. Yes, 10 times.
You had 10 title fights?
Bro, yes, but I lost 3. I went 6-3-1. I lost 3.
Yeah.
I was 6-4, honestly, because John beat me.
Yeah.
But I went 6-3-1 officially. Bro, your UFC championship record is what? 11-1?
11-1, yeah.
Come on, man. What are we talking about? What are we talking about, bro?
I think.
What are we talking about? Hey, what are we talking about? How is he at home? I know he's humble. He's a great father. He's a great husband, everything. But like,
I'm washing dishes.
Come on, dog. Like, people got to put some respect on your name, man.
I think it's based on, people always say it's the competition, right? Or I'm too small, or, I never went up to 135 and all that stuff. But for me, I was like, dude, I was walking around when I fought Dom, I was walking around at 138.
Yeah, that's not big enough.
I was like, dude, I'm not big enough. And me and Dom talked about it. And I was like, dude, like, you were literally holding me down, standing up. And I'm like, get your fucking feet back.
Because he was too big.
Just too big. And I'm
Dom
like,
was big.
He was a big boy.
But 125 was perfect. It was like Valentina. Yeah. When Valentina got 125, it
she
was like her real weight.
Yep. And when she fought Amanda,
she was too small.
Too small. She can absorb the power. And they're like, technique. People don't understand. Size does matter when the playing field is even.
Yeah.
Right? Like if I know everything, you know everything, and you're a little bit bigger than me, that extra weight,
that's what happens.
That's what happens. So, but for me, I'm grateful that, I had the respect of my peers.
Absolutely, because that's what matters.
That's what matters, right? Because perception always changes. It always changes. And I'd rather, you know what it's like to fight. You know what it's like to cut weight. You know what it's like to be consistent and making that weight and then fighting and going out there every single time, defending the belt, trying to win the belt.
Yep.
That shit is hard.
It's hard.
So for me,
you always fighting the toughest person.
Yes.
Always the best person. And guess what? What people don't recognize is that when you're the champion and you're defending the belt, it's like, I've defended the belt 4 times, 5 times, right? It's like, okay, I've got 4 defenses. That guy's on his first.
Yep.
That guy doesn't have the money I have.
Yep.
That guy doesn't have the house or the life. So he's starving. So it's like, while you got to motivate yourself while having everything, you're trying to kill it. You're trying to kill the dude that was you prior. Because when you didn't have nothing,
you're like, I
gotta
this.
eat.
Yep.
Like, I want this. I'm watching Cain Velasquez. Initially, one time I saw Cain turn on an appearance. He's like, I'm not going, DC. And I was like, well, how much? He's like, it's 25 grand. I was like, you're out of your mind. 25 grand. I'm like, yo, he get 25 grand to go do something.
Yeah.
I was like, bro, I'll do anything for 25 grand.
Yeah.
Right? But then when you become the champ, you start getting that stuff. You still do it.
Yep.
But then that guy is thinking like I did.
Yeah.
Hey, man, I'd do anything for a $25,000 appearance. Dude's starving.
Yeah.
It's like, you got to get up, man, to beat them dudes. That's why it's so hard.
Yeah. Would you still do an appearance for 25 grand right now?
Me right now?
Yeah. Oh, he got that champ money.
No, don't do that. I probably would. Hey, well, money's money.
Yeah,
Like, I mean,
absolutely.
you take 25 grand, you stick it in a college fund for your kid.
Yep, 529. Yeah,
don't touch
absolutely.
it.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's like all these things that you can do with this money. But I don't know. And we were talking about the double champ a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
Champ. I've always tried to start this conversation. What's a great title reign today, though? Because we get dudes
4. I mean, you look at
3 or
Alex,
4. I thought 3 or 4.
Yeah, because you look at Alex Pantoja. I mean, I'm dating this, but at the time, you know, I think he's at 3 right now.
Yeah.
And I feel like he might be the longest. I know you had DDP. He won it. He beat Sean Strickland.
And he beat Izzy.
He beat Izzy. He hasn't done anything after that.
But if Hamzat beats him, he's at 2 title defenses.
2 title defense.
Is that a great title run?
I don't know. Maybe in today's age.
That's what I'm wondering. Are the guys so good? Are the guys so good, or are the champions just not separating themselves like you did?
Yeah, or you did too.
I've had 5.
You had 5,
yeah,
right?
but still.
So I think it's, you know what? That's a great question. I think it might be just the talent is just different now because everybody's doing it. Everybody's doing mixed martial arts. Now, when you started, you were 31, right? You started fighting. I started when I was 18, but I had a wrestling background.
Yep.
And I focused, and I had a long amateur career. I had like maybe 15.
You fought 15 amateur fights?
I believe so, yeah. 15 amateur fights from kickboxing to Muay Thai to boxing and that's not including like the submission wrestling, the wrestling tournament. I mean, the grappling tournaments. So I came in super fucking seasoned.
Prepared, you were ready.
So I was well-rounded, where now you're seeing kids like, kids who are a lot younger coming in.
Ilia.
He's
been doing MMA since he was 12.
Exactly, right?
Like,
so
dude.
he's going to come, but you know, he only had 2. He won the belt.
He had 1.
1.
And now he's up fighting for another belt.
Exactly, right? Who knows what would have happened if he would have stayed, right?
Yeah.
So but you look at a guy like Islam.
Islam's got a lot of title defense. He's got 4.
He's got 4, right? He could have had more, but he wanted that opportunity to go fight at 170.
He had 4. He's got 5 title fight wins.
Yeah.
That's the most in history at lightweight. 5.
Yeah.
Islam, I think 4, 3 to 4 now. Because I think it's hard, man.
Yeah, it is.
I don't know if we'll ever see 8 again. I know we ain't seen 11 again.
But I think the reason why we're not going to see it is because people want to move up.
But now they're making him give the belt away.
And so you're never going to see it again.
Yep.
Right? So you think about Merab. If Merab goes on 8-10, or the same
is anybody going to beat Merab? He is a problem,
yeah, he's
DJ.
the gas tank. I mean, the way I've talked to Aljo, the way he trains, and he just doesn't stop. He doesn't. I thought if anyone was going to beat him,
it was Umar.
It was Umar.
Yep,
because
I thought so
Umar
too.
has the grappling X factor.
Yep,
but fucking
he
Merab
actually got him, dude. That was crazy.
Out wrestling here, and this is where I want to pivot. You know, one of the friend of the show, MMA Guru, and I kind of believe him on this. He says, if you have wrestling, your wrestling pedigree is from America. I don't give a shit what it is. If you're coming from Caucasus, meaning like, Dagestan, Georgia, the wrestling is better, right? And
wait.
I don't know what he said for better.
What's better?
Because
I know he's like MMA Guru. I don't really know who he is.
Yes.
But I've heard his name come up a bunch.
Yeah.
Tell me what he said exactly.
If I see someone from the Caucasus and I say they've got a wrestling background and they're from that region, I'm looking at them and I'm like, God, this guy's probably going to make it to the top. I look over the Atlantic and I see some kind of prospect, high school this, national comp this. Yeah, I just watched you fucking put your head against someone's leg on the Contender Series for 3 rounds and get out damaged and lose. But DC says I'm wrong.
I don't know what he said.
I
think what he said exactly is that I don't care what your wrestling pedigree is in America. Like if you have like NCAA, whatever it is,
It's better over there.
No, if you're going to get somebody who has like a sambo background or wrestling background from, what was it, Caucasus? What do you say?
The Caucasus Mountains. That's where Khabib in Caucasus region.
Caucasus region, right? It don't mean that means more than an NCAA title.
Like
in mixed martial arts.
Wait. He said a combat sambo means more. Combat sambo.
Look it up real quick. She's gonna look it up.
It has to be combat sambo.
Well, I think he just said he doesn't.
Because if it's combat sambo,
it's totally different.
Yes, because they strike, they do jujitsu, they do all kinds of stuff.
That's why I was.
That's different.
Yeah.
The biggest thing is American wrestling does not translate.
Translate, yes. It doesn't. I agree with them. Here's the reason why.
Tell me.
I agree with them because you think about it. When does somebody start wrestling? And I didn't start wrestling in America. I didn't start wrestling. Yeah. I didn't start wrestling until I was in 8th grade, right?
Like America, like where else did I live?
Yeah. I didn't start wrestling until 8th grade, right?
Yeah.
And all I did was spear wrestling. When would you say somebody in Dagestan or Georgia start combat or just start combat sambo or sambo in general?
So they start wrestling and wrestling in all these sports around 5 years old.
5 years old, right?
They start going, they really identify what they're best at, is my understanding.
Mm-hmm.
So if you show more potential in Greco-Roman, they move you to just Greco-Roman. If you show more potential in freestyle, they move you there. Combat sambo, they'll move you. They move you into the places that they think you are more equipped for. Then you train that specifically. Until you get to whatever you're going to be.
Gotcha.
World champion, Olympic champion, whatever that desired peak is in the sport. But to say anything I don't think that's true because we wrestle from a young age. I started at 10 years old.
Damn.
I was a kid. I went to my first world championships at 15.
But I think if you take 100 wrestlers who've wrestled in America, and you take 100 people from Georgia, Dagestan, I think the numbers...
I can't agree with that, man.
Really?
Man, you're going crazy. You let this dude convince you that? That is not true, dog. Man, you tripping.
I think it translates more because you think about the striking.
Tell me combat sambo.
Combat sambo.
Okay.
Yes.
Now I agree.
Okay, yeah.
Because
combat
they're
sambo.
striking.
But if it's just wrestling versus wrestling, you can't. No.
You don't know that. You don't know who's going to be more successful in the UFC.
But when it's combat sambo, when it's like, okay, I'm training leg locks at 8 years old.
Yes.
I'm going to be way better off than a guy who's just training
MMA.
In MMA.
Except for the outliers. Except for the outliers, right? There are outliers, like myself.
Yes.
Like you.
Yes.
Like Henry Cejudo.
Yes, that's why you have 100 of us.
Yes, there are outliers that will be better than that guy.
Yes, because I did fight Ali Bogatinov, who's a combat sambo combat world champion. And when I got in there, I just ate his ass up in the clinch.
Of course.
I beat him up in the, I think he took me down, I stood back up. I was able to take him away from that. But when you look at guys like...
You're talking about if we put 100 wrestlers, 100, and we just do the data, they'll probably have more success because they've been striking and grappling long.
Exactly, in mixed martial arts. So I can understand, but if it goes for, wrestling, I don't think that's a fair assessment, right?
It's not a fair assessment because when we do wrestling, they beat us.
Yeah.
Historically, they've been beating us.
Yeah.
But we've had a run recently where we were the best team in the world. So it's like, it kind of goes and flows. When I was a kid, we were the best team in the world again because Kevin Jackson and Kenny Monday and John Smith and Kendall Cross and Tom Brands, Terry Brands, we were the best in the world, right? And then they started beating up on us all the way through the years I was wrestling. The Russians were the best. And then after that, when Jordan Burroughs and Kyle Dake and David Taylor, we were the best in the world again.
So it's always going like this.
It's going up and down. But right now, they're the best. They're the best again. And Dagestan people are the best. Like it's a lot of wrestlers from that region. So right now, they're the best. But again, we will have kids in America that will ultimately get to a point where they get good enough, then we're the best. And then they'll come back.
It's ebbs and flows. It ebbs and flows. But I just, it's always fascinating to see where, when it comes to mixed martial arts, I feel it's obviously the best transition because they start at such a young age.
I think it is.
They're always striking. They're always grappling. They're You know, you look at fucking Marab's wrestling, how he's able to transition from, he gets a guy against the cage, he goes to inside sweep, they defend that, then he goes to out. It's like, dude.
He's using his feet. That's why Islam and Khabib were so good. Whereas we were like attacking the legs.
Yes,
they do stuff with the run pipe, and then they'll kick your foot from under you.
Yep.
That's where they got really good. And I think that comes from the combat sambo. Yep. That comes from that. It's like judo almost.
Yeah.
Because they wear a gi top whenever they fight as kids. Yep.
Yep. And they're, like I said, when you do something, like I've been grappling more in the gi, and I wanted to get this guy named Charles Cabrina. And man.
You like the gi?
I love the gi.
So I got my guys. I got like a team of guys now. I'm training out of my gym. And every week, 2 days a week, I send them over to my jiu-jitsu coach, put a gi on.
Yeah.
They're like, we got to wear a gi, coach? I'm like, if you can grapple with a gi.
Oh, dude,
when you take it off.
Oh, it's, that made, me training in the gi, when I fought Adriano the second time, it made my grappling that much better, because I'm so used to people breaking, trying to move, and them holding me down. And so when he took me down, I was like, okay, well, I can move, I can create space, elbow. It made my game that much better, because the amount of hours that I was spending in just grappling in the gi, it just made no gi like easier. Like I won't even touch, like my wife wants me to do no gi because she's like, you see the muscles, you can fling out. It's more explosive. It's more it's more enjoyable to watch.
Yeah.
But for me, I love how sophisticated the gi and how hard it is. It's just
hard.
It's a puzzle. It's always a puzzle.
We did so much gi jiu-jitsu when I was fighting. It was just mandatory. We had no choice but to grapple in the gi.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we had to grapple in the gi. Every day, every week, we were in the gi.
Are we going to see you compete in the gi? Why not?
No. I don't think you'll see me compete in anything but golf. I'll be losing. You don't think you can beat golf, and I'll be losing, man.
You have a good time though, right?
I ain't never lost more than I lose in golf. I've been paying so much to Justin Gaethje.
Oh,
he
really?
Be hitting me up, man. He whipped me today. He almost hit me for $1,500.
Damn.
He be whipping me.
Wow.
He just keep pressing the bet.
Yeah.
We'll have a bet. He gets behind it. I press.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, stop pressing.
See, it's your ego. You supposed to, I'm not good. I'm sorry.
I can't, but you can't not press. You can't allow a man. If you're ahead, you got to give a man an opportunity to win his money back. You have to. Like, God dang it. Hey, he just presses me all the time.
So golf's your love now. Like you just.
I enjoy it, man. Coaching. I love coaching.
Okay.
Coaching wrestling. Coaching my son. He's an 8th grader now.
Okay.
Yeah.
How's that going? Like your son's an 8th grader. Is he playing football? What sports is he doing?
He do football and wrestling. My daughter's in gymnastics. He does tackle since he was 7 years old.
How was that?
So I thought about putting him in flag.
Okay.
But I'm from Louisiana, man.
Yep.
And we are a football place down there.
Yeah.
So when I sent my son's picture to my group message with all of our friends, they told me I wasn't allowed back home if I don't put him in tackle.
Oh, gotcha.
So you got him in flag?
Yeah.
I was like, okay. So I put him in tackle, and he loves it. Dude,
really?
He loves football.
What was it like for you?
So
as a father, when you saw him take that first hit, because I'm about to go through it right now.
So he doesn't run. Like you see, you're fast.
Okay.
See, I'm not fast.
Okay.
So my son's a linebacker, so he tackles.
Gotcha.
He doesn't get hit.
He's doing the hitting.
He tried to play running back, and I was like, no. I was like, you need to play defense, and if you want to block, you can block.
Yeah.
But I remember one time, so he started to get to a point where he actually knew how to tackle. So, and he was like very courageous. So he just runs in. You start when they played 12U. I started to hear, because how old is your son?
He's 11.
Okay. Is this his first time playing tackle?
His first time playing tackle.
I'd be very nervous.
Oh, I'm fucking nervous.
Let me
as
tell
shit.
you, I'd be very nervous because he started playing at 7.
Yep.
And at 7, all they do is drag each other to the ground.
Gotcha.
They don't actually tackle.
The collision.
The collisions don't happen ever.
Yeah.
Because they just kind of fall, and one might fall over the other one.
Yeah.
But at like 12U, I started to hear. So what I did was, there's a thing, and I'll send you the link for it.
Please.
It's a impact strip that goes in the helmet, and it's on your phone. Yeah, so it's on your phone, and it tells you the impact. And if it's like a big impact, you can read it and go, hey, I think you should take a play off.
Yeah.
So like one time he's playing, and it was like, cry, and it was like back to back. And he's like, boom, boom. And I was like, Daniel, I'm screaming from the sideline, Daniel. He comes over, I'm like, you want to take a play off? I was like, that was loud.
Yeah.
And he's like, please don't take me out.
Damn.
And I was like, okay, man, go. But dude, you got to stop. Like, I'm like, just grab the legs. I'm like, he's like, boom. He's like running this like face mask into the dude. It's like, but it's like, And then on the meter, it read like it was a heavy impact. And I was like, yo, come take a play off.
Yeah, I think.
But it'll be fun. Was that?
Yeah, send
I
it.
will send you the link for it. Yeah,
Because-
it's awesome.
Yeah, because he started with, he started doing jiu-jitsu, right? He loved it, and he loved like how hard it was. And then he got kind of like, man, I'm not being a kid, right?
Does he
'Cause-
wrestle?
No, he hasn't wrestled yet. I think he's going to wrestle, and I think he's going to be very good at it because, there's no gi because I started in gi. So he's like, damn, he gets a hold of me and I can't break it. So he's like, I'm going to start playing football. And I think he got more into football because he saw all the guys with the chains,
Yeah,
and
the necklaces,
grills,
they look
the
cool.
necklaces, and he goes, and then now he's got a necklace.
He got number drip.
He got him a drip, and so now he's playing football, and he was playing flag, and it was his first season playing flag, and he enjoyed it. And then now he started training at a different team, and they're like, "You gonna play?" And I was like, "No." I said, "You can play." You can practice, but I don't want to do any tackle. I don't want you to get fucked up.
Yeah.
And then the coach's like, dude, he's going to be fine. Like, he's pretty fast. And I'm like,
But he might be a running back or something.
Yeah, I think he'd be a wide receiver, but he said he wants to play. And I feel like there's a point in time I was like,
You have to let him.
I just got to let him do it. And just,
You gotta let him, bro.
His first game, I'm going to be sitting there at the edge of my seat. Like, I just want to see what
Coach.
happens. No, I don't want to coach.
Coach.
I can't.
You have to coach.
I can't coach.
Let me tell you why you have to coach.
Okay, and I'll tell you why I don't coach.
You
Go
have to
ahead.
coach because you need to be close if something happens. You don't want to be running out of the stands.
I would do that instead. Because
Really?
my presence to who I am, like we already went through this when he was grappling, and when he would go to compete, everybody would just all eyes on him because
Dude,
he's
it sucks with my son in wrestling.
Oh yeah, exactly.
I beat DC's son. I'm like, so what?
Yeah, that's what they say.
Beat him now. You're not gonna beat him when it matters. It's like a very fine line, right? Because little Daniel, I'm trying not to like pressure him too much.
Yep.
Because I know what comes with being a kid of yours or mine.
Yep.
Especially in the sport that we do.
Exactly.
So I'm like, go to practice. So he's done well, right? He's won like 3 state championships
Oh, dude, that's
as
awesome.
like little kid. He made the finals of a national tournament one year. He got 5th another time. So he's done well.
Yeah.
But it's only because he's been to practice 3 days a week only. Like
Oh,
he's
wow.
never trained.
Yeah.
I've never made him. He just started lifting weights. He just started doing private classes with a coach.
Yep.
So like now I'm expecting him to get a jump because he has the foundation.
Yep. Now it's getting him a little extra juice.
Now here you go. Now here are the benefits of me being your father.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? I can get you better coaching.
Yep.
I can coach you myself. I
Yep.
can drill with you myself. Now you can start to see those benefits in all those kids that might have kicked your butt early.
They ain't gonna touch
now
you
you
now.
get to start going, hey, come on.
Yeah.
Now you get to see.
Yeah. And I think that was the hardest thing for me
It is
with
hard.
my son, where it's like I show up and I don't want it to be about me. Right.
It's so hard though.
It's very hard. So that's why I try to stay out in the shadows. Like even
Yeah.
when he would go to seminars, my buddy Andy would take him, and I was like, because I don't want to go to the seminar and it's all about me.
Yeah,
and I want him. It's his show. It's his career.
Yeah.
It's
Dude,
his,
that's so great of you.
Yeah, 'cause-
I struggle with that because I want to be so present.
oh 1000%.
Because like my mom and dad were like, they always came to games. But let me tell you, like they didn't really, football they loved.
Yeah.
They never missed. In Louisiana, wrestling is so small
yeah,
that they didn't really come unless it was the state tournament.
yeah,
I wrestled one dual meet and my dad went. I still remember it.
Really?
Because he was there.
yeah.
It's the only time he ever went in the middle of a week where there was an empty, like small gym, no people with 2 teams wrestling each other. He went, and I still remember that day because that's the only time he was there.
Wow.
I don't want my son to look back and go, God, I wish my dad was there.
Yo, I'm gonna be at every game. I'm gonna
Yeah.
be there. You looks at it right. I'm gonna be there.
What about
and
practice?
practice? I'm there all the time. Like
Yeah, just
most
go.
time-
Just
Yep.
so you just want to be off in the shadows,
Yep,
but always
I'm off
just
in the
there.
shadows.
Yep.
Just let him do his thing. 'Cause
I love
it's,
that.
It's his career, not mine, right?
Yeah.
And I tell people, and I tell him too, because he told me he's very mature for his age. He says, Dad, like, I don't think you understand how hard it is being your son.
He said that to you?
Oh yeah. He was like, you have achieved so much that I don't know if I can ever achieve what you did. And I tell him, I was like, dog, I was
You
like,
don't have to.
I was like, you don't have to. I was
Yep.
like, I said, there's only be one person in this world that wants you to do better than him. And that's me. I
Yeah.
want you to be way better than me. I want
Yep.
you to succeed. There's only 4 kids that I want to be better than me. And that's, Tyron, Maverick, Jackson, Emmett. Those are
Yep.
only 4. Everybody
Yeah,
else
your
kids,
kids.
those are my kids. I love those kids. So I want to be in the shadows. You need me. Hey, what you need, dog? You got hit the fucking push-ups. You need protein.
Yep.
I got you. But he told me, he was like, to compete in jiu-jitsu and try to, live up to what you've done, I can't do it. I don't like it. And so that's why I just be in the shadows. I would love the coach. I'm like, you got to hit them drills like
I
that.
I would love to be able to do that. That's one thing I struggle with because I always want to be there. Like my kid is like, he's a good athlete, but he's not the most sure person.
Yeah.
He's like kind of like we baby him. Like,
Yeah.
we've always babied our kids like way too much. Helicopter parenting
That's
at
okay.
like
It's
the
okay.
next level.
Yeah.
And it's like I always want to be able to kind of tap him on his back. Like, you got this, champ. Like, you good. Because now I want to call him champ.
Yep.
Because I think that something happens when somebody calls you the champ every day. Swear to God. Hey, champ. Hey, champ.
Yeah.
When I want the belt and wants to call me champ, I'm like, yo, man, don't call me Daniel.
Yeah.
Like, this shit every day, I want to be called the champ.
So when I change after this conversation, when you leave, I'll change your name.
How many times do I call you? When I text you, I'm like, thanks, champ.
All the time.
How you doing, champ?
All the time.
Always.
Yeah.
Like that, because, dude.
You're the champ.
You're the champ.
Yeah, in Japan, that's one thing I love about it. It's like, if you're ever a champion, that's how they address you. It's like, you're a champion. Doesn't matter if you lost, you're a champion. You've reached the pinnacle of a sport at a professional level or anything, you're considered a champ. So
your kid, and I want some advice. So we have a good wrestling team. We're the number 9 team in the country.
Wow.
But my son is in 8th grade, and he's going to repeat 8th grade for football.
Okay.
Are you into that or no? Reclassification. What do you think?
I mean, that's beyond my realm. I have no idea.
You never heard about it? Like, kind of when your kid, like, say your son's a good baseball player.
Yep.
Many great baseball players will do a year twice because that second year they can actually just train.
Gotcha.
What do you think about that?
I don't know. I've never been put in that situation. That's the first time I ever heard about it.
How old is your son?
He's 11. He's going into 6th grade.
Oh, wow, he's super young.
Yeah, he's super young. Yeah. So what I'm hearing is that your son, he is.
A lot of my kids did.
Yeah.
So I had a group of 8 kids.
Okay.
That are now juniors and seniors in high school. They all repeated 8th grade. They went to Dagestan. It was that group of kids. They're all state champions. 2 of them are going to Cornell. One goes to NC State. One's going to Michigan. One's going to Oregon State. Another one's at Oregon. They all got college scholarships because their freshman year
in high school.
Their freshman year in high school, they didn't have to wait to make the team. They were immediately the best.
So basically, they get to redo freshman year all over again.
They did their freshman year while still being in middle school.
Huh. I see what you mean now.
Yes.
So if I'm in 8th grade, I'm good enough to compete on the freshman team in a high school.
So you're in 8th grade. So you're my son. So you're my son.
Yep.
And you're 13, right? You're 13.
People are like, they look alike. He could be his son. I don't know.
So you're 13.
Yep.
And you're supposed to go to high school. And how old were you when you were a freshman?
I was thinking 15, I think.
So you had a great at the end of your freshman year.
Yeah.
So sometimes a kid can be 13 years old when they walk onto a high school campus.
Yeah, it's
barely 14.
Yeah, too young.
So by repeating, those kids as freshmen were like 15, turned 16 whenever they're freshmen.
Yep. And then they go to sophomore, they're 17,
18, 19 graduate.
Oh, gotcha. So you're just repeating a year and you're just graduating later.
You graduate 1 year later.
Gotcha.
All football players.
Gotcha.
The top 8 guys.
That makes sense because you're big, you're more developed. You're bigger.
You're more developed.
You're the older guy on the field.
Yeah, you are.
Or on the basketball field, right?
And you know why you got so much attention from your coach? Because you're probably good.
Yeah.
The moment you're good, the coach is like drawn to you.
Yes.
So like, yeah.
See, I thought you were saying like, hey, if you're in 8th grade and you're good enough, like let's say you're in 8th grade, you're supposed to be in 8th grade, and you're good enough, you could play at the freshman level and
can't do
high
that in
school.
California.
And then you did that. And then next thing you know, you did 1 year of freshman, but you're still in 8th grade. You do 8th grade curriculum. You go to high school. Now
can't
you're
do
a
that.
freshman. Gotcha. So
Gotta
you're
do
saying
it.
you're doing,
stay home
I'm a
a year.
freshman. I'm doing another year as a freshman. What about the curriculum as a
8th
student?
grade. You do a homeschool.
Oh, homeschool.
And they got so you do a homeschool year.
Gotcha.
There's one where like all the Olympians do it. That's what they do.
Gotcha.
Oh, you know that a lot of Olympians don't go to school?
Really?
They don't go to school.
Well,
they
makes
do
sense.
homeschool.
Yeah, I just met a football player, a dad who's the quarterback is like top 10 in the country, and he does all his homeschooling. He does homeschool, and all he does is train. He has his dietitian, he has his strength and conditioning, and the guy's like fucking 17 years old, and he's gonna reclassify. He's gonna go to Florida because the opportunity to get picked up is way higher.
Told you.
I'm just starting to get, like I said, it's my son's 2nd year at
I'm
football.
giving you the plan.
That motherfucker going to school. He going to every single year.
No, they put him back in 8th grade, DJ. You guys gonna have him. Because here's another thing, right? Think about this. If he's in 8th, right? And he's about to go to high school.
Yep.
That means you have 4 years left with him.
To get him done, yeah.
But you have money.
Yeah.
My mom was like, get to high school. This boy got to get out of my house.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
You take care of a child. You're good.
Yeah.
It keeps him in the house one more year.
Well, if I want his
you
ass
get
in the house
5 years with your kid instead
I
of
see what
4.
you mean. You know, it's funny.
It's awesome. Look, mama's like, I won't keep him that extra year.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because my son, you know, want to get back on top of it.
Yeah, let's please. I'm sorry.
No, I love this. This is why I love doing this, because it's very hard for me to find another father who's going through the same thing I'm going through, who's gone through the career that I've gone through, right? So, but my son, he just went to Alaska and he was gone for a week. He was out there shooting machine guns, fishing, jumping off bridges with girls. I'm like, this nigga ain't never coming back.
He ain't coming home.
He ain't coming back.
He ain't coming home.
And so I miss him, but now he's home. I'm like, your ass ain't never leaving.
Nah.
But it's kind of interesting to hear about that. Redo another grade, stay. He does 5 years as a high schooler.
No. He does
No. I know.
8th grade, but he's more developed by his freshman year.
Exactly. That makes sense. Okay, let's
awesome.
get back on topic. Okay.
I'm sorry.
Now, obviously, the one thing that I always appreciate about you is that you always have kept it real. You know, you have this, debate going on. Not debate, but like, if the champion with the Jon Jones thing, but Jon Jones not fighting Tom Aspinall, and then I felt like the UFC was enabling, because we don't know what Jon Jones said to the UFC back in the day, where he was like, they know my whatever it is, but the word on the street is that they gave him $30 million. He goes, he got cold feet. He didn't want to do it. But for you, you're like, I would have fought Tom Aspinall. If I was an actor, I would have fought him.
You have to.
Yeah.
You have to.
So do you think that Stipe versus Jon Jones fight should have never happened?
I honestly thought when Jones got back, and Tom Aspinall was the interim champion when Jon Jones fought Stipe.
Yeah, I know.
How can you fight someone else when the interim champion is available? So like, it shouldn't have happened. But I got it though. Yeah. I got it. The only problem for me, and this is where I feel things got crossed. I think they might have did that with the idea that he would have given them the Tom Aspinall fight. That's the only reason they give you a legacy fight.
Gotcha.
Is if you give me something back on the back end,
and I
scratch your back, you scratch my
back.
And I feel like maybe he goes, give me the Stipe fight. I want to do it in Madison Square.
Yep.
But then I'll do the Aspinall fight. And then the Tom Aspinall fight comes about, and he's like, give me $30 million. Thinking like, it's going to be my way of
getting out of it, but not really.
Yes.
I learned that from my father-in-law.
Okay, here you go. Yeah. There's $30 million.
Yep.
So it's like, you gotta fight the guy, man. Yep. I know it's scary. Let me tell you why. And I this is why.
He's fucking good. Let's start there.
He's very good.
Yeah.
And he's big and he's explosive and he's young.
Yep.
Somebody showed me that counterpunch thing the other day with me and Jon Jones. And Jon told me, he goes, you're only getting older. You're 37 years old. I will only see when I stand there, I'll see a 38-year-old man.
Yep.
I'm barely entering my prime.
Yep.
That's the flip.
Well, that's one thing I love what you said, that you have to pay it forward.
You have to pay it forward.
Meaning like you got the opportunity, right? A young athlete coming and fighting an older guy, Mauricio Shogun Rua, even though Mauricio Shogun Rua wasn't as old as you.
He was just beat up.
He was just beat up from all the years fighting in Pride. He didn't have to take that fight.
Nope.
Mauricio Shogun did not have to fight a young up-and-comer, but he did. So circle comes around. Now you have Tom Aspinall, and here you are. You're 38. Now you give the young lion the opportunity to take out the old lion, where he was like, nah, I don't think so.
Let me tell you why. Tom Aspinall has never fought 25 minutes.
No.
Tom Aspinall knocks everybody out.
Mm-hmm.
If there is a time to get Tom Aspinall, it's right now, where he has not learned
how
to fight 25 minutes yet.
Yeah.
There's going to be a time where he gets pushed to 25 minutes, and he may get through it.
Yeah.
But he may struggle with it, especially if it's a guy that just wrestles him over and over and over. Remember Francis?
Yeah.
When he first fought Stipe?
Yep. Just wrestled him over and over and over.
Francis looked like he saw a ghost.
Yeah.
But then the second time,
he was more
prepared.
Went
25. He understood. I'm not going to put everybody out of here.
Yep.
I got to save something. That's what's going to happen to Tom. Right now was the time for Jon Jones to fight Tom Aspinall.
Well, not anymore, because he's retired now. Like he's. I would be shocked.
Do you believe that?
I think so. I think there comes a point in time in an athlete's career where, obviously he don't leave the house unless he's making $100,000. So he's obviously loaded with money, right? He had $30 million on the table to fight.
No.
And I think he's like, I think I'm done. I think for him, and that's why I told Tom Aspinall too, and I think I said it out loud with Jon Jones, I think Jon Jones' legacy doesn't need Tom Aspinall as Tom Aspinall.
Needs Jon.
I don't think he does.
He does, bro.
He doesn't.
You know why?
Why?
And I'm only telling you this from a guy that lived in that world, right?
You lived in that division.
I also never beat him.
Yeah.
And I had, no matter what I did going forward, it was always that, well, you never beat Jon Jones. Tom Aspinall is going to get that belt, and there's going to be a gap, right? That lineal championship breaks. That line breaks. When Tom goes from interim to champion. Because Jon never gave him the opportunity to fight him.
But either did Francis never gave Jon Jones opportunity to fight him.
Francis was going to give Jon an opportunity. Jon wasn't ready to take it at the time.
Exactly.
Right?
So there you have that same type
so it
of thing.
keeps breaking. Francis left. Made a boatload of money. So in retrospect, Francis probably made the right decision because he got paid
1000%.
so much money to box.
Exactly.
But Jon not fighting Tom messes with the the line of succession, the balance of the world. It's like the Avengers.
Yeah,
the Infinity Stones going back.
Yeah.
He needed to fight him. I wish he would have fought him but I think he's not fighting him for one reason and one reason only. He doesn't want to put the work in that he needs to. Look, DJ, we both know, champ, that at times you will fight guys and you know how good they are.
Oh, yeah.
And you have to go to a dark place to make sure you don't lose to him. He did that many, many times.
Yeah.
Especially when him and I fought. And he beat me in Anaheim. I was never better. So I know how hard he must have worked
to get there.
I think he knows that in order to beat this kid, he'll have to go back to that place. And he's probably just unwilling to do it.
Yeah. Well, I think once you get to a point in your career where you've done everything, right? Like, it's hard to get ready for it. Right. And I wish as a fan, I wish we would have saw that. Selfishly, I wish I would have saw the fight because I enjoy watching Jon Jones fight. I think he's very good. He's very crafty how he goes about fighting people. But they want to.
He's so durable and he's so
very
smart.
durable, smart. He can wrestle. He can clinch. He can throw high kicks. And I just, as a fan, I'm like, fuck, why didn't we get that? And that's why I always get mad. Like, fuck, that fight between him and Stipe should have never happened.
It shouldn't have happened.
Should have never happened.
Stipe just wasn't. Stipe shouldn't have been fighting. He's 42 years old. Hadn't fought for 3 years. Like. He looked so slow, but he was actually hitting Jon.
Yeah, he was.
And I think that might be what worries Jon.
Well, I mean, like you said before, Tom is light on the feet. He's explosive. He's in and out. He has the shortest fight time in UFC history. It's a bag of problems that do you want to take that on
at 38?
At 38 years old, because like you said, we're only getting old. Like Jon Jones says, we're only getting older. So it would reverse. When Tom steps in there, he's going to see a 38-year-old man who's not going to get any faster, who's only going to get slower. By the way, you and his build up to the fights are probably the best ever. That was like probably peak mixed martial arts because it was good. It was up.
Real.
And I'll never forget when you were saying like, can I fight Jon? We're off doing our own thing. You're like, I just want to fight Jon Jones again. We made great fucking money together.
We made great money.
The pay-per-view numbers, we fight that motherfucker again. So thank you for those memories because
it was awesome.
They were my favorite.
Yeah, we used to have Jon Jones and I did great business together.
Yeah,
we would fight. People tapped in. Like, bro, you know what was crazy? You know when I knew that Jon Jones and I had tapped into something different? I was in Newark, New Jersey.
Yeah.
Got a lot of brothers in Newark.
Yeah. I was going to say where you're like, man, why do black people got to fight each other? He goes, just because we're black, Jon, doesn't mean we have to be cool.
We gotta be cool. But dude, the people, like going into like shoe shops and like all kind of brothers was coming up to me. That at that point, that had not happened for me yet. It hadn't happened. They didn't know me. Now I can go into any black community and they're like, oh, hey, DC.
Yeah.
But back then, bro, they didn't know me in Newark. It was like people recognized like two brothers at the top of that sport. It mattered. It mattered. And it was good, man. It was good to see. It reminded me of growing up and watching like Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier and all that. Because we take a lot from people that kind of look like us, right? I wanted to be like those champions. And me and Jon did that. I'll always be grateful for those memories.
Of course.
Bro, we had some horror, like the press conferences were sick.
Oh, yeah.
We'd throw stuff at each other.
Yeah, it was, like I said, it was peak MMA. Like when you look at today's age MMA, like getting excited, I do love the storytelling of, I mean, if you follow a sport, you love like what happens if this person wins? What happens to this person if he loses? Who's gonna be the next champion? What does this person want to do? But I feel like that was like the peak of just
it was
two athletes, very competitive, trying to belittle each other and just getting each other's head. The mental warfare was just wish we had more
and
of it.
everybody was good. Everybody was so good. The champions were so good. We as Americans were good.
Yeah.
That whole argument we had, we as Americans were good. Bro, think about this. Like the champs, it was you, Dominic.
Yep.
145 was
Aldo.
55
was Max?
No, not Max. It was Frankie Edgar.
Yep.
70 was like Robbie Lawler or Tyron Woodley.
Yep.
And then it was like
185 was either
Weidman, Luke after Anderson.
Yep.
Then it was me and John. And then heavyweight was Steve Arcane. It was all Americans.
All Americans. Now,
how many American champions do we have?
0.
We have 0 champs.
0 champions.
Stop lying.
As of this, yeah.
Kayla Harrison.
Oh, my bad.
Oh.
Oh, the balance.
Oh,
my God. Oh, God.
Kayla Harrison's the only American champion right now?
Right now, yep.
That's crazy.
Yeah, Valentina Shevchenko, yep. And then who is, so Shevchenko, Kayla Harrison. There is no 145. What's 115? Pantoja.
Oh, 115 is Weili. She's the best.
She's China, yeah. She's fucking I think her and Valentina are the ones who've always impressed me. I think Valentina Shevchenko is the one who's impressed me the most because she comes from that kickboxing background. And then I was like, oh, she's gonna kickbox. And when she came out and threw homegirl and then armbarred her, I was like, okay, she's getting fucking better.
Yeah.
She's evolving as a champion, which is very, very rare.
Very hard to do.
You don't see it that often because the activity they have to put forth as they compete, you see it and you don't see it as much.
You don't have as much time to learn.
Exactly.
Whenever you're defending championships.
Exactly.
Weili's great. Then it's Pantoja, Marab. 145 is Volk. Then we'll have a champ, Brazil or Georgia this weekend. 70 is the Jack Della Maddalena.
Yeah, JDM, yep,
And
Jack.
then
And you have DDP at 185. 205 is
Magomedov.
and then heavyweight is...
heavyweight is Jones.
No,
Or
Tom.
Aspinall.
Tom.
Yeah, since Jones left, it's Aspinall.
Nah, that's
Oh,
crazy.
we have one champ.
Yeah.
We had all the champs.
We did at one point, but like you
That's
said,
crazy.
at the beginning of the other show, it goes up and down like this.
It goes up and down.
Up and down like this.
Do you see anybody coming?
As Americans?
Americans?
Oh, God, no, I don't. It's hard. I mean, you have Corey. Corey's going to be fighting
Corey's
out
good.
Marab.
Corey's good.
There's an opportunity there. And then you look at 145. You have Van at 125.
Yeah, Van's good.
He's good.
He's from Myanmar.
Myanmar.
Josh Van is from Myanmar.
Oh, wow.
Myanmar,
yeah. That's where Angla's from. Myanmar. Is he? No, he's at
Myanmar.
I think it's Myanmar. Yeah, I think it's Myanmar. Yeah.
Myanmar, yeah.
Well, yeah. So he's not an American, but what?
He's from Houston.
So yeah. So what flag does he claim?
We'll take him. Yeah,
Right.
we'll take him.
You will
We
take
need
him.
somebody.
He doesn't? Oh, okay. Well, there you go. Okay, DC, thank you so much for your time. Before we get you out of here, what can we expect from you next? I know you got your coaching.
Yep.
You're commentating. YouTube game's on fire. You got the good guy, bad guy on ESPN. You're all over the place. How are you able to balance all that and still have the passion? You're also commentating to have the passion to show up and do everything to the fullest ability. How do you, I mean, all I'm doing, all my love is in the YouTube creating content. That's all my love. I get 100% to that, obviously to the family, but you're everywhere. How do you do it?
I just love being busy. I do not like time and just too much idle time.
Yeah.
It's not great for me. I never did well with a whole bunch of idle time from college to the Olympic years. I just always need something to be chasing. You know, we as athletes, like we're so different, right? And we're wired so differently that if we're not chasing something, there's a void that can't be filled.
Yep.
So you attack this YouTube because you want to be the best.
Yep.
Right? And that's me. I
Yep.
want to be the best at a wrestling coach. I want to be the best at YouTube, and I want to be the best commentator. So all those things give me something to compete at because video games only do so much. Bro, I love video games. Okay.
I told at one point, like, I grew up playing video games, right? And then at one point, my wife's like, I don't understand it.
I'm never giving up my PlayStation. That's me. You can leave. I ain't never giving up my game.
Well, I told her, I showed her the clip of Ocho Cinco. You're like, you know, you think Call of Duty could do that to me? You know, girl gonna leave me. You know, coach gonna leave me. But
Call of Duty, my video game gonna always be there. We had it our whole life. You still play?
I do play. I'll play Marvel Rivals right now on my PC. It's
You're a PC guy. My son's a PC guy too.
Once you go to PC, it's very hard to go back.
Really?
Because you get the graphics, the processing speed, everything's just different. Like you're hardwired all the time. And then the amount of library of games you can play, it's just, and then I'm mouse to keyboard. So now I'm like this.
You play the keyboard, bro?
Yeah.
You don't have a controller?
Only on fighting games. Like
Wow.
I never played any sports games. The reason why is because I was so athletic. I did all of them.
Yeah.
Like the other day, I was my son is he's training for football. So I was out there and I was like, hup, 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 and I boom, caught the ball, ran in there, and I was like, I don't need to play NFL, 2K24, wherever we're at right now, or basketball. I can play. So I just never played.
love soccer game. That's my favorite game.
FIFA?
FIFA? It's called FC25 right now, but it's awesome. I play all sports games. I play FIFA.
Yep.
I play NBA 2K. I play Tiger Woods golf. There's a new golf on 2K and EA Sports.
Do you ever wish when you're playing?
I play EA Sports UFC, bro.
Really?
I play my own career. Like, I fight because I can't fight.
You're like, let me fight John Jones again. One last
I just
fucking
want to
time.
get one more paycheck. I'm going to get one more paycheck out here.
Oh, before we let you go, this is what I got to ask. Okay, so I always ask everybody on the show, retired athletes, active athletes, what did you do with your very first check that you got from fighting, right? And then what'd you do with the very last check you got from fighting? For example, for me, when I started making money, I went and bought a laptop from Best Buy. $750. I was like, whoo, we done made it, baby.
Yeah.
I was in Alaska. I called the wife. We're going to go to Best Buy, get that laptop. What did you do with yours?
Bought an iPad.
Your first paycheck?
First paycheck, I bought an iPad, and I carried it everywhere. There's actually a video of me being so proud of my iPad. I was going to a Strike Force fight, and I'm just carrying this thing.
Yeah.
I bought an iPad.
He's like, yeah.
I was like, look, I got my new iPad.
Yeah.
And I'm just like walking around playing with it. Yeah, I bought an iPad.
Okay.
It was like $1,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what'd you do with the last check you got from fighting?
Put it away.
Put it away.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah, it was over. Because at the end of the day, like, those numbers you don't see no more.
The velocity of the money you get.
Yeah, you don't see it no more. You might get good checks.
Yeah.
But you'll never get those checks.
Yeah.
So yeah, it just goes away.
Yeah. So we had Dom on, and he was talking about, he's very good about articulating how he sees the fight. And he says, he does all the homework, he studies.
Yep.
I never forget when you guys were going back and forth, we were like, DC, you don't study? He goes, what do you mean I don't fucking study? He goes, you don't study. It's clearly that you don't study. And
yeah.
I love DC. He's my friend, but to me, from my experience, he doesn't do the homework. He wants to get in and out.
What's your feedback on that when he says you don't study? I think it's very hard to study, to watch time and time again.
It's different.
Every athlete.
It's different.
Yeah.
Right? So whereas him and Shevchenko, they start prepping for the fights on like Monday. They start watching fights, watching video. I can't do that.
No, you have so much stuff going on.
During the week, there's so much more to do. So by Friday night, I do half of the fighters on Thursday. Then on Saturday morning, that's when I watch the fights. I won't watch anybody's fights until Saturday morning. Yeah. Because then I can retain all that information that I see. But I also have notes. DJ, look at this. You can't tell me. This guy say, like that was always like the craziest thing, right? Because you say something like, well, you don't study. But look at this.
But see, I like, for me, when I've done...
Look at this.
Okay.
Daniel's fights.
Yeah.
Look at Peyton Talbot.
Damn.
This is Peyton Talbot's notes. So, I have his fighting style. Yeah. I have his commentary, which is me, all the stuff that we talk about in regards to him. I have his last fight. Yeah. I have his background. I have all those things. But look at this, though. This is this week. But look.
Damn. I don't want them problems.
But
I don't want that. Damn.
Seriously, those are all fighter cards that I have.
That motherfucker just went like this. He kept scrolling.
Those are the fighter cards I have. So if you fought, I bet I got a Demetrious Johnson in there. Let me see.
Slow, not good, doesn't hit hard, horrible grappling. So you keep all of it like saved in there from
it just stays there.
Wow.
Look. Style, quick striker. This was Ray Borg. He was talking about you.
Oh.
Jimmy, he gave power. Good wrestler, has no problem taking. Demetrious Johnson and Justin Scoggins took him down repeatedly. Very durable. He has only been finished by Demetrious Johnson. So, like, anytime I put your name, it's just in these notes. UFC 216 weigh-in. Demetrious Johnson. Pro as always, 125 to the number. Yep. Like, it's like...
Man does his homework. Man does homework.
So this idea that I don't is crazy.
I love how it's just you and Joe just fucking vibing out.
So here's
vibing out, just like,
here's the thing.
You do your thing, I'm gonna vibe out.
That's what makes us... That's what makes us fun and makes us better.
I enjoy it.
Because you feel like if you and I are here and we're at that table and they put the fight on that TV and we talk.
Yep.
That's what it sounds like when we're watching and calling, only telling you what's happening in the fight.
Yep.
And a lot of people want that.
Yep.
I got a call from a very prominent broadcaster after I called the NCAA finals. Wyatt Henderson beat a guy named Gable Steveson.
Okay, yep.
And I said, oh my God.
I saw that match.
I said, oh my God, Wyatt Henderson just beat Gable Steveson. And he called me and he said, Sometimes you just state what just happened, and that's enough. He said, Daniel, that was one of the best calls of your career.
Wow.
And you have a career filled with them. He goes, I believe that you, John Anik, and Joe Rogan, as a threesome, is one of the top 4 broadcast pairings in all of sports.
Wow.
That to me was enough to tell me that what we're doing is
good.
right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, well, like I said, I enjoy it. My mother-in-law enjoys it. She goes, she's a big fan of yours.
And speak to the common fan.
Yeah.
Who are you trying to talk to? The dude that's in his basement? Like, who are you trying to talk to? The guys in his basement breaking down the fight?
I think there's a place for both because for me, when you guys do it, sometimes when I watch the fights, I have all the analytics. I know what's going on. I know all that. And sometimes I just want to hear like, oh my goodness, he getting pieced up, Joe. Oh, I like that. I was like, you know what? After he's trying to dump him all that stuff, you know what? I forget he is getting pieced up.
Yes.
It takes me out of that analytical where I'm sitting there like, oh, he just needs to do this more. You guys make it fun for a guy like me because I have all that
you got
data,
all that
right?
data, but then
I don't have that.
But your mother-in-law doesn't.
Exactly, she
and
doesn't.
I can give it to her
Yep.
on like the level that's at the surface for her to understand it. But then I can also talk to you about a wizard kick, or I can tell you this is this, or this is an omoplata, or this is a Darce choke, and this is how you get to this position. This is what you should do to advance. And speak to that other person while also saying it to her to where she goes, oh, I kind of understand. So if he goes to the right, he might have a better chance of getting away if he went to the left.
Yeah. And do you still love commentating? Like, obviously you do love it because it's your fucking loads.
Bro, it's the best.
Yeah,
like I love commentary.
Yeah.
It's so fun, dude. We always sit there and go, I have the greatest job in the world. And I'm like, it'll never change.
Yeah.
The fact that you sit there for those big events. When I watch Ilia Topuria and Charles Oliveira step in that octagon, I'm going to have goosebumps.
Oh, I bet.
And I'm going to think, and a lot of times I go, man, I cannot believe that that's what I did. Because it's so big and enormous and it's so valuable to you and your life and your legacy. It's like I get goosebumps because I'm excited for them to have the opportunity to achieve something so great.
Yep. I love that. I love that. Well, DC, this is your opportunity to let the fans know how they can support you, where they can follow you, your YouTube channel, the podcast. The floor is yours, brother.
You're the man. Guys, YouTube, DC_MMA is my YouTube channel. Obviously, Instagram is DC_MMA. All social channels are that. Watch Good Guy, Bad Guy every Monday and Thursday on ESPN. And just keep supporting me and you also, and the people that have done so much to try to move this sport forward, to all these new fans that love it so much.
Yeah. Speaking of the movement of sport forward, I forgot to ask, how was it coaching The Ultimate Fighter? I'm not gonna lie, I'm shocked that show's still going. I'm not gonna lie, it is. Like, what was it like coaching again? Like, you look at the history of it. I mean, if it wasn't for The Ultimate Fighter, I might not be where I'm at today.
Yeah,
because it was Ultimate Fighter that got me into it with Rashad Evans' season, right? So it's still going to this day. How was it coaching against opposite of Chael? Obviously, you guys in a fight because you guys are both retired. Tell me about how was that
I thought it was awesome. I thought coaching The Ultimate Fighter was awesome.
Well, you did. This is your second time doing it, right?
Second time.
That's right.
But I thought this time was even better because I'm not actively fighting.
So
because
you give more.
I can give more to the athlete. I don't have to worry about let's cut practice short because I got to go work.
Gotcha.
Let's just give these guys, make them the true focus. And that's where I think if you're going to continue doing it, you use retired fighters. Because it put the current fighter that's going to fight at the end on the staff.
Yeah.
Because those guys have to worry about themselves. I remember when I was doing it the first time, I had a fight with Stipe Miocic on the horizon. So all I wanted to do was become the heavyweight champion.
Yeah. That makes sense. I never thought about that. Like, use retired fighters because they've done there and been there. They've been there and they've done it, and they're not worried about, oh, I got to fight this coach afterwards.
Yeah, for sure.
You sit there and be like, I'm here for you 100%. I'm not worried about the future. Obviously, you are, but not worried about the future as competing as a mixed martial artist.
Absolutely. It was fun, though, man. Chael and I have a great relationship. He's a good dude. And the kids fought hard. And the level of talent on that show is super high on this season.
Wow.
It was good.
Well, there we go.
I've got one more question. One of my about heavyweight fights that didn't happen that I wish happened. You and Brock Lesnar.
Oh, yeah.
After that,
Shove.
I did not get that fight.
Brock played us, man. Brock came. Brock played us, bro. Brock came with the idea that he always has an open door because he's such a big star.
Of course.
I was on a Brock Lesnar card at UFC 200.
That's when you fight Anderson Silva.
I fought Anderson.
Yep.
So 1.4 million pay-per-views.
Woo! You have your points?
Yeah.
See, that's what I tell people, right? When you become a champion, you're making great money, but once you get that door, And you can confirm or whatnot. Once you get in that door, you get pay-per-view points. Just so the fans know, first 0 to 200,000, it's 0 buys.
Yeah, you
get anything from 200,000 to 400,000. It might be $1, right? Then from 400 to 600, it goes to $1.50 or maybe $2.
Yep.
Then from 600 to 800, it can go from maybe 3.
No, it's just anything over 600.
I heard it can go. I heard like one day. I heard one story that Anderson was getting $5.
That's crazy number.
Like
I never got that.
Yeah.
I never got like 5.
But
I
once you-
did get a good number. But once you get over 600,000, now the money's just jumping.
Yeah, and that's where champions make that different
Yeah.
atmosphere. Now I never got the opportunity. Granted, I wasn't a draw, but if I would have got the opportunity to get pay-per-view points and then be on like a card or give me a stack card,
Yeah.
right? I always know each time I show up, I'm always gonna fucking deliver.
Yeah, you
I've
are.
never gone in there and laid a fucking egg, right?
You did that one move, bro.
Well, I
that
know.
one move,
Oh, yeah,
that
yeah.
move was crazy
Yeah,
still. The
but-
craziest move in MMA history.
Yeah, but
When you threw the guy up in an armbar.
oh yeah, kind of armbar, yeah.
The mouse trap.
Mighty Whiz Bar.
So who called it the mouse trap?
Oh, the mouse trap's a different move. I haven't shown him before.
Oh my God. So
Yeah.
you got another one?
I got another one, but it's more of a setup because you got to trap his ass.
The mighty armbar.
Mighty Whiz Bar, yeah.
Mighty was that was sick. Bro.
Because I did it, and Matt Hume, the wizard, he taught it to me, and so that's why and it was an armbar. I'm an armbar guy. I love armbars.
You threw him in the air.
Yep.
What were you thinking at that moment? Like he was just balled up. He was so beat that he wasn't gonna do anything.
Yeah. So one of the things I think that made me so good at fighting was that when I kneed Adriano in the face, when I hit him and he was falling, re-drilled that when I was an amateur. Matt was, okay, guys, I want you to understand, like, understanding your surroundings. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna go 1, 2, push, and then once he hits the ring, we're gonna jump up and throw a flying knee, right? You do it again. I did that as an amateur.
Yeah.
And sometimes when you drill something in your career, you might not get the opportunity to use it until it presents itself.
Yep.
Right? So as an amateur, I drilled that. It finally came out at the very end of my career.
Yeah.
So when I was getting ready to fight Ray Borg, we were just drilling on how to move somebody when they're trying to be heavy,
Yeah,
right?
he's trying to be heavy.
Because trying to pick somebody up like this when they're stuck, it's too hard. And so Matt was like, you have to force people to move themselves. And so you can knee him in the leg and you do this. So I remember in that fight, I was sitting there and I was like, oh, wow, you're being really heavy. I was like, I'm just going to keep kneeing in the legs. And then once he went like this, he backed him. I was like, oh, you just moved yourself. And I was like, oh, it's time to go. I went, ah, and I threw him up and I caught it. And I was like, I did it. And I was like, and that's when I was crying. I was like, fuck yeah. And that's what I loved about my career is that I would take still normal day classes and he would teach curriculum. And then I was able to, apply that curriculum into my fights.
Mixed martial arts, yeah.
In mixed martial
It
arts.
was awesome.
But yeah, man. DC,
What you can say the story. Why did the Brock fight?
Oh,
No, yeah,
Brock,
my bad.
I'm sorry.
we started vibing out, man. We started having a good time. So why did that fight happen?
So Brock actually came, and then the WWE paid him more to
go.
stay.
Gotcha.
Yeah, they paid him more to stay.
Yeah.
We danced the dance for a while.
Yeah.
It could have been Brock and I when I fought Derek Lewis in New York.
Yep.
But yeah, they paid him so much to stay. Man, he was such a big star there.
Oh, yeah.
That he could make money to go do that and do nothing with suplexes.
Yeah.
Or go fight me in an octagon.
Which is that shit is real. And
it's real, and I'm gonna try to kill him.
Yeah.
Right. So it was like, yeah, he made the best choice.
Maybe one day we might get you Brock versus DC in WWE.
I mean, Brock is on the ban list right now.
Is he?
Oh, dude, Brock got into so much trouble. He tried to hold me up for this shit. You know what Brock did? I ain't telling you all there what Brock did.
Okay,
Brock is so much trouble.
All right, we'll do it off air. Well, boys, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of the MIGHTycast. We're joined by one of the greats of the sport, Daniel Cormier. Thank you so much for taking the time.
You're the man, my brother.
My man. I'm your host, Demetrious Johnson. Right-hand man, Michael Wandsworth is behind the camera. And our guest, Daniel Cormier. Make sure you guys like, subscribe. Also, hit the bell to go live. Hope you enjoyed this episode of the MIGHTycast. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the MIGHTycast. And we are going to recap everything we just went through with our guest. And our guest was the great Daniel Cormier. Man, DC, I mean, first off, what an amazing career. It's amazing what he's doing now with the YouTube. He just did The Ultimate Fighter. He's doing commentating. He's coaching his son and a wrestling team. He literally has his hand in everything when it comes to combat sports and just being involved in mixed martial arts. Like the YouTube video he just did about Jon Jones not accepting the fight and how Jon Jones is going through the turmoil of his career. Just some knowledge about how, when we had that discussion, that was one of the biggest discussions I wanted to talk to him about is like MMA Guru's take on if you're from the mountains, that wrestling or combat sambo is that wrestling is better than American wrestling. But when you look,
I think Guru's argument is for MMA.
For MMA.
Because I don't think he's saying in a straight wrestling match that
No.
Khamzat Chimaev's going to beat Bo Nickel, because Bo Nickel would destroy him
in a wrestling match.
In an Olympic freestyle wrestling match.
But when it comes to the combat sambo transition into mixed martial arts, it's way better because you're starting at 8, 9, 10 years old, not heel hooks, but leg locks, kicking, punching, kneeing, throwing. Where in wrestling, you're only focused on one aspect of the sport of mixed martial arts. So I wanted to get his piece on that. And obviously, I feel like when him and Jon Jones were fighting, that was peak MMA build up and competition, because those two genuinely did not like each other. And then you saw a different side of Jon Jones, who's like, "Hey, pussy, you there?" He goes, "Man, you can really turn it on, man. You got a real good PR." And the last conversation I sent DC of Jon Jones in DC was that history repeats itself. He's rotten to his core. And you look now, history has repeated itself. Jon Jones, he's innocent right now until proven guilty. The last criminal allegation that's going on with him right now. But all in all, amazing conversation with Daniel Cormier. Truly enjoyed chatting with him.
Yeah, people sleep on DC's accomplishments because, one, he went 0-1 technically against Jon Jones, but really even he is humble enough to say, like, yeah, I went 0-2. So he went 0-1, other than one went as a no contest.
Yep.
Then also in that Stipe trilogy, he only comes out 1-2. So that has made people sleep on his legacy. But
he did it at 39.
No, exactly.
39 years old.
And here's my thing, a true champion in both weight classes. We're seeing a lot of guys like, hey, I did enough to get like Conor McGregor, he never defended either of the titles.
Yeah, he won at lightweight once. And he went into 155 mil and he left.
145.
And 155. And he just left.
Yeah, and just left. So seeing DC a true 205 champion, which yes, there was some asterisks there because when Jon Jones had all the issues with USADA and stuff, that's when DC had the title, but still a true 205 champion.
And he defended it too against Anthony Johnson.
Yeah, exactly. And then goes to heavyweight, knocks out Stipe that first time. Truthfully one of the GOATs. I would have him, but I'd have to go and rank them all, but probably he's top 10-ish, I would say, in UFC history.
Yeah, top
easily.
10-ish, and definitely the footprint he's had on the heavyweight division, because even though he was a champion and he didn't defend the belt as a champion, the amount of fights he's had actually he did defend the belt as a champion. He won it from Stipe, and then he turned around and beat Derek Lewis. So he's actually won.
Yeah, he did, exactly.
Yeah, so he actually won the belt at light heavyweight, defended it, won the belt at heavyweight and defended it, where a lot of people, they won the belt. Like, I think the only other person who's ever done that is Henry Cejudo. He won the belt against me. Then he defended against TJ, went up and fought Marlon Moraes, and then he defended against Dominic Cruz. So there's a lot of people who become champ, but they actually don't go off and defend that belt in that division. So I agree with you. He's definitely got to be top 10. Maybe even like, top 10, top 5.
Top 8-ish.
Top 8-ish. Because
if someone put him in the top 5, I would not be opposed, because he's just, and like you said, there will never be. Jon Jones and DC is the greatest rivalry in UFC history. I'm not saying from a fight perspective, but just the
build-up.
Yeah, the build-up. There was, I just remember that second fight. I have never been more excited for a fight in my life. And I was rooting hard for DC, so I was like devastated at how that played out. But that build, just the ultimate babyface versus the ultimate heel.
Yep.
Hey, we missed that. I mean, we're not to date this podcast, but right now, International Fight Week, we're getting Charles Oliveira versus Topuria, and you see both guys hug each other, cut in weight. It's just, come
hard.
On, try to protect it a little bit. Like if DC and Jon Jones saw each other cut in weight, they'd start throwing heads.
Well, I think you got to look at it though. Like, it's so hard because even when, I get what you mean. You want to see true bad blood. Right, like you don't want to see, hey man, like hugging each other. It's a fight game, and I think there's two aspects of it where those guys are true martial artists. Not saying that DC and Jon Jones weren't; they truly didn't like each other, right? Like you got to get like a Arman and Paddy Pimblett fight each other. If you want that bad blood fight, you got to do that. Or Paddy Pimblett versus who's Paddy Pimblett? Paddy Pimblett's just that guy.
Yeah, Arman is really talking shit.
Paddy's not somebody who's going to be friends of friends, buddy, right? Like you wouldn't see Paddy to cut weight with somebody. He goes, you fucking sausage, you fucking Hamlet, the posh boy. Like that's the person you want to have in there. But when you have a guy like Charles Oliveira who's come from nothing and he's getting an opportunity to go out there and fight again, hard weight cut, and he's fighting a guy like Ilia Topuria, where Ilia Topuria, he's very respectful, and he's like, I want to have a dream of being, two division champion. I don't feel that they have to build themselves up and have that bad blood between each other to fight. But I think
I will argue, I think they do, and I think it's what the current UFC is missing. I think it is a huge issue, and guys like Conor, that's when I knew McGregor was washed, was when he came back. But really, he comes back with
he's
Poirier,
like,
and he's nice. It's like, dude, your mind games, it's everything is part of it.
Yeah.
Like that, people were intimidated by McGregor before. You have this huge entrance when he comes out, one of the greatest entrances in UFC history, and by the time he gets in the octagon, Jose Aldo, I guarantee when that fight started, like his head wasn't in the right place, and that's why
he got knocked out.
Yeah, he got knocked out.
But I also think, I agree with you. Like Conor McGregor was very good at that, because when he came back and fought Dustin the second time, he was like promoting his hot sauce or they're like, I'm gonna do it again. I'm like,
so
what the
cringe.
fuck's going on? But then he gets in there, but sometimes to play that villain over and over and over and over again, you get tired. And I think he might have want to take a different approach to this fight against Dustin Poirier, and it didn't work out in his favor. And then the third time, she's in my DMs, yeah. Like obviously I always like to think Conor, like depending on what type of hairstyle he shows up at, if it's like good slick hair, back Conor, nice beard, that's the Conor that's dangerous. But it's a shaved head. I think he's going through some mental battles where like Britney Spears and shit. So, let's get back on track. I think it was a great chat with DC. I'm excited that he's been very successful in his post-career, because you see a lot of athletes from mixed martial arts, when they're done fighting, they don't do anything. They just disappear in the sunset. And I'm happy that we have something like that still in the sport, giving us good feedback commentary. Like I said, when we listen to him and Joe Rogan and John Anik, it's like your bros watching the fight.
No, yeah, I love one of my favorite calls in UFC history was, this is just the subtle things that shows that what DC was talking about, where he gets emotions very well. It was Ngannou Stipe the second time. It was at the Apex.
Yep.
So it was silent, right?
Yep.
And I forgot if Rogan or DC was the first one to say it, but DC was just like, my heart is beating so hard that I think it, but he was saying like, I feel like it's getting picked up on the mic, and Rogan's like, dude, same with me. Like, and I was at home, and my hands were sweaty.
Yeah.
It was like, I was just like, dude,
I know we shit on.
I love it. I didn't, in that moment, I didn't need this like, Francis Ngannou has landed 5 significant strikes per minute. It's like, that emotion got me like, I'm ready for this.
Yeah. And I think the one thing that we can appreciate, that I've always appreciated about the COVID times and the UFC Apex, it served its purpose, right? It served its purpose when there was nobody in there. It was very intimate. You can hear every single shot that landed, the leg kicks and knees of the body, the like the grunts between the athletes. And that's where I think like you can feel your heartbeat. You're not hearing any outside noise. So that's
what he thought, is this actually picking up like boom, 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 boom.
But that's one thing I love about that time during COVID-19. So I can resonate with that commentary, like he said, like he can feel it. It's so quiet and you can hear. I wonder if my heart rate's being picked up by the mic.
One of my favorite knockouts of all time was Ngannou Rosenstrike, which was also at the Apex, because you just hear, it was like a 13-second fight or something, but it's just like you just hear every strike. It's like, okay, and that was before he won the heavyweight title, so it was just like, okay, this dude's ready for the heavyweight title. I do agree that is the one I do miss. I miss that. Fine, there. I'll give it to you. I always shit on the Apex.
But like you said though, there was a place in time. You said that there's a place in time for the Apex. Right?
Yeah, we're past it now.
We're past it now. Now it's like where they just had UFC Baku. That crowd was absolutely fucking going crazy when you had the hometown guys fighting the other.
As they all left though.
They all left afterwards. Like, we're done. But that's the Apex served this purpose. Now it's time to move out of there and start going around to different countries and having the fights there, so we can get that atmosphere that you get where you have the hometown fighting on his home soil against the foreigner, right? That's where you get that. And that's where I agree with you. That's where you loved about It's one reason you hate the Apex, and that's
No,
why
I did love it.
Yeah, you love it.
No, and get back to DC, we're making this a very regular thing, giving away his glove. You could also go to his channel, my boy Luis. He runs that channel, so support his channel. What they're gonna give one glove away on his channel, and then also we have on our channel this giveaway. Daniel Cormier, two UFC champions, when it was a time where the champs actually defended the titles instead of just going off to a different weight. I think we have 16 combined defenses or something
16,
like that.
yeah, 16 or 17, yeah.
So
17 combined defenses. So guys, make sure you guys, obviously Michael Wansover is going to leave it in the community page how to get those gloves.
Yeah, but follow us on Spotify. Get us. Like I said, we have 1.5 million, something around that YouTube subscribers. We should have 1 million on Spotify. Come on, guys.
Stop being lazy. Stop being lazy with what he's saying. So, boys, if you guys enjoyed this episode of the MIGHTYcast, please leave a like, subscribe. Also, hit the bell to go live and let us know in the comment section below what you guys thought about this episode. What was your favorite part? DC's golf, the Jon Jones. Let us know in the comment section below. I'm your host, Mr. Johnson, my right-hand man, co-host,